What's cracking? What's cracking? What's cracking? What's cracking? What's up? What's happening, man? How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody doing? Shout out to, he said, don't do it to him. What am I do to him, man? I ain't, no, man. What I'm gonna do to him? Oh man, no, man. We got a great show, man, for you guys, man. Great show, man. Warm it up, man.
Girls, why didn't you walk out of the school this morning?
Well, I didn't believe that there was enough people to walk out to really do any good. I mean, if there was enough people to walk out and show that the kids at Central are all not for this, that it might have done some good, but only just a few did. Besides, I didn't think it would really do the purpose. I mean, you could be suspended or something on that.
That's the same as I feel, and I didn't want to mess up on my studies like it's all cost. I've been out already a week, and I don't want to be out anymore and miss anything that I have to miss.
Well, that's why I didn't walk out, because I really didn't think there were enough kids that were going to walk out. And I believe that if they hadn't found out we were going to do it, more people would have walked out. But after they found out, kids more got scared than they would have otherwise.
How do you feel about having the 9 Negroes there?
Well, they really haven't done any harm to me, especially, but I'd rather have it not going to school with them. It doesn't seem like there's much that we can do right now.
If any of you talk with the Negroes?
Oh, and Jim, they've been very friendly to me, but we haven't discussed this problem. They just talk about their activities or something like that.
You mean some of the white children do talk to them?
Yes, and Jim, there are 2 girls, 2 Negro girls in my class, and we talked to them, but not about the problems of school.
Do you think this will go on indefinitely? Can it go on indefinitely?
Well, what do you mean just by that?
Well, can you continue your studies and get your homework done and pass your tests with troops and incidents and?
Well, lately, with the guards standing outside the door and continually looking in the room to see if the Negro students are all right, well, it certainly upsets me, because I hear the footsteps or see someone peeping around, and I'll look up and get my mind off the work, and I just can't completely work.
You may have heard that some of the boys who walked out this morning came across the street and hung up a effigy of a Negro on a tree and set fire to it.
Yeah.
Right over here. Now, how do you feel about that?
I think that's all uncalled for.
It certainly is. I mean, you can bring about things without showing disorder like that. That shows that you're very immature if you can't discuss and do about problems without things like that.
Well, I hadn't even heard anything about it until you mentioned it then, but I don't believe it was necessary either. Should have been some.
Can you hear the audio of the white girls in the 1950s talking about going to school with black children for the first time? Press 1 if you can hear the audio. Going to school with black children for the first time. Shout out to Don Juan, Miguel Wano. Don't do it to him. S Freak in the building. Salute to the nation. Smash the like button and lend Ox some sugar. He's our neighbor. Yeah, can I borrow a cup of sugar? This don't seem very racist to me, man. Every time we go back in these times and watch these videos, these white people don't never seem that racist as black people said they were, man. We got a fiery show tonight, man. We gonna get into it, man. We gonna blow it up, man. We gonna hurt some feelings tonight, man. Shout out to S Freak, man. We gonna hurt all are welcome to come up. All of you are welcome to come up. Okay? You're all welcome. Okay? Come on, white girls. Tell us how racist you are.
Some other way that they could have shown that they didn't want them there.
Well, do you feel that the 9 Negroes are going to stay under the court order, or do you think they'll eventually be driven out?
The Negro students are going to stay for the reason that the Central students can't do anything about it. Every week there's a different plan, like this plan for walking out, and it didn't go over. So I just think that sooner or later they're going to stay because no plan has worked over yet.
Do you think if they do stay and the troops are taken away that things will settle back to normal eventually?
Well,
I don't.
And
I think that just fighting, and as you might say, it would keep up more or less because there's so many kids that don't want them there that something's going to keep on happening, I believe.
This is Mike McKelvey, a sophomore here at Central High School, which is the building just behind us, and these are two of his friends, Dinah and Sheila. Now, Mike, I'd like to start off by asking you, you were in there today when some of the students walked out and I believe they burned a Negro in effigy and caused some disturbance. How do you feel about it?
I think that was ridiculous. There's no sense to it. It's not going to help any matters any. It's stupid.
Well, now, tell me, Mike, the whole problem here at Central High, how has it affected your studies?
It hasn't affected me one way or another. I don't care about it. I'm up there to learn, not to try to solve racial problems.
How do you feel about sitting in the same classrooms with the colored children?
Oh, I don't mind that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a colored kid in my gym class, and he's a pretty good old guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think the basic problem here is? Is it the students, or is it the parents around the community?
It's the parents, that's what it is. Because most of the students over there are accepting it, and there are only a few of these hoodlums, that just want to start trouble.
In other words, most of the students, you think, feel like you do, that you're just there to study?
More or less, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that the situation as it is seems to interrupt classes and causes you to have trouble studying?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't interrupt any of my classes. It hadn't interrupted any of mine, except the first day, when all this commotion was out here, when the crowd was out here.
So yeah. It oh man. The black students want to be victims. They want to tell you that they was victimized back in the day, but the white man victimized them. The white man was victimizing them. The evil racist white man was victimizing them.
We feel like this is our school. We bought and paid for it. We just asked you, will you enter these kids that were zoned out?
I can't do this. You see, the Houston Independent School District is under federal court order.
When it is convenient to them, when it is a question of jobs, then we're brown. But now that they can use us, that they can mix the blacks and the Chicanos, and the gringo can stay up there in his own school and not have to look at us, now they do it.
I think it's just the parents that are uptight about it. I mean, I'm not uptight. I mean, I don't really care.
Dr. Martin Luther King said that we shall all come together someday, and this has become that day.
So far, school integration here in Houston, as defined by the federal court, is being accomplished. But there are many angry, frustrated, and confused parents here today. They want to know, once and for all, from Washington, what exactly is meant by school integration. They'd like to hear it from the U.S. Supreme Court, but if they do not, they will be looking directly at the White House for some answers. Don Farmer, ABC News in Houston.
I got a little woman I can really love.
Okay, so guys, tonight's show, I was watching Chaotic Truth earlier, man. You know, and I think what was an hour 17 of his show, man. They were having a great discussion, man. And they were talking about black men, man. Black men back in the day, man. And it got me to thinking, because we talk a lot about nobody covers black men in the Reconstruction and the Jim Crow era on YouTube more than this channel. We talk about it all the time. Shout out to Bailar con Latinas, man. He says, I've been taking care of this woman for about 2 years. I put my life on hold for 2 years, and I see that it's not going to work. I did everything for her, and I feel empty. I won't do this again. Yeah, man. I feel for you, man. We'll come back to you in the last hour, man. Remind me to come back to Bailar con Latinas in the last hour. I really want to stay focused during this hour, though. We want to address that situation in the last hour. Bailar con Latinas. He said, Laughing Dog says, I like Oc Nation history lessons. Yeah, man, we're going to get into it, man. Well, we're going to get into it, man. God, the clothes in the 60s and the 70s were a mess. Jesus Christ, what were these people wearing? What were these people wearing? And they thought they was fly too. They thought they were fly. You couldn't tell them they wasn't fly.
Look at that shootout that happened in Philadelphia. Why don't we run up on the people who did that? Why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? See, you blacks are the real coons. You blacks are the real cowards. Why are you always talking about George Zimmerman? So what? What about all the stuff that goes on around blacks? That's what I want to talk about. Emmett Till's uncle was a hoe. He was. You wouldn't let a nigga run up on you like that and take one of your goddamn kids. You'll fight tooth and nail. Why?
Emmett Till's uncle was a hoe. That nigga said Emmett Till's uncle was a hoe.
Why don't we talk about the wholeness of our race? Why would you let these whites do that? See, that's what I want to talk about. Why was his uncle such a bitch?
How you know he didn't fight him? How
He
you know
didn't fight him.
Did
they not take Emmett Till? How
you know they didn't go in there and pistol whip him and knock him out? How you know that didn't happen?
Because his own uncle said that he opened the door and let them walk in. That's what,
okay. Do you understand what time that was back then? How it was back then, CT? Do you have a clear understanding of that, or are you blurred on history?
So you mean to tell me that? So you wait a minute. You mean to tell me that this black man didn't have a pistol in his arm?
I'm asking you a question.
You
CT.
mean to tell me? So you mean to tell me that the black man couldn't protect himself?
So you don't really.
No, he
so
couldn't.
you really. So you
I
really
wouldn't
don't
even want to live.
understand.
I wouldn't even want to live in a country like that, man. If I
So
couldn't protect.
CT, you really don't understand the situation back then. You really don't understand it. That's
Willie,
the problem.
Not a clue.
You
don't understand it.
Willie, you and this guy right here, Afro Nerd, man, you guys are in so much denial, man.
No,
It is
CT, I had family members that were killed back then.
No, you didn't, bro. No,
CT, my family's from the
Can I
deep
respond to this? Can I
You
respond to this
lying.
uninterrupted?
My
Can I respond to this
family's from the
uninterrupted?
deep
You want
fucking
to?
Willie.
CT, you don't know what's
Willie,
going
you
on.
lying. You lying,
No,
Willie.
you don't
Willie,
know what's
Willie,
going on,
Willie,
CT.
Willie. Okay, who's a family member? Name him so I can look him up.
I got a family member named James that was killed down in Georgia.
James
Cousin
what?
James?
James what? James what?
What was
my
cousin
last
James'
name.
name?
James what?
Daniels.
Where was he killed at?
In
Doing
Georgia.
what? Doing what?
I don't know what he was doing, but he was killed by some white people.
He was probably stealing chickens. That's what he's probably doing. He's probably a chicken thief.
Here we
And they caught that
Here we
nigga.
go.
Yeah.
Here we go with the
Tell
buck
you
there.
something.
Willie, what year? What year?
CT, I don't know what year it was, but it was during that era.
No, it wasn't.
It was during the civil rights era.
No, it wasn't, man. You lying.
Hey,
See, you
chaotic,
don't
chaotic.
really
making stuff.
CT, you really don't understand what was going on back then.
Chaotic.
Because
They
you're not-
always make it seem
Hold on,
like
hold on.
these
Let
niggas
me
was
clear something
innocent
up.
when they got
Hold
caught
on,
doing
hold
some
on, Mose.
bullshit.
Hold on, Mose. See, when your family don't live through it, and then they come over here, and then they try to tell us how it was when our families lived through it, that's the problem I started having.
Bro,
with people.
what year was he killed? How was he killed? Where was he killed?
I don't
What
know
city?
exactly
What
what year
city
it
in
was.
Georgia? What city in Georgia?
But you have no details,
He was
right?
killed in Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
What was he
so
doing?
They found him on the side of the road, shot.
But what?
Could a black person have shot
Nigga,
him?
you probably somewhere shooting dice. What the hell is you talking about, dude?
So you mean to tell me?
You guys don't understand how critical it was down there for black people. That's the problem. You really.
Okay, so we don't understand how critical down there it was for black people in the South, man. It was critical, man, for black people, man. You know what? Let's look at a story, man. This is everyone hit the like button, man, and everybody subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe right now. I want to just pause. We're gonna get back to that chaotic video, man. There's a lot there, man. There's a lot there. That video was that conversation was gold. I want to take you back to April 12th, 1904, a Tuesday. The Kansas City Star newspaper. April 12th, 1904. Okay? Shout out to Laughing Dog. April 12th, 1904. Malik Quelly says he talking about his Uncle James Evans down in Chicago, GA. Damn. Yeah, they knew that nigga was lying. They knew he was lying. He said, I like floating head out. Yeah, I don't know why this yellow shirt doesn't come up on my on my little thing, man. I gotta go get a black shirt, man. I'm not liking the way that looks. But anyway, I might have to go shirtless out. You know what? We're gonna go shirtless out so I can stop floating. There's something with this yellow. This yellow not picking up. So we're gonna go shirtless out. We're gonna go shirtless out. And that's gonna be it, man. But yeah, back in the racist South, where niggas had to let white people come to their house and take their children, where niggas had to keep the head down and yes sir boss and yes sir boss. Oh boss, eyes are not looking you in the eyes of boss. Because if I look you in the eyes, I'm gonna be hanging from a tree. All right, right. We heard all that from niggas, right? April 12th, 1904. High school boy killed. Roy Martin shot through the heart by a Negro in Kansas City, Kansas. Roy Martin, a student of the Kansas City, Kansas high school, was shot and killed at Kerr Park in that city at 4 o'clock this afternoon by a Negro boy, Gregory by name. The bullet went through Martin's heart. Martin and several other high school boys were practicing running on the track in Kerrs Park and were annoyed by several Negro boys on a hill nearby. The Negro boys made insulting remarks to the white boys, and the latter advanced towards them. Peep how the incident starts. In 1904, Martin, the white boy, and several other white boys were practicing running on the track in Kerrs Park and were annoyed by several Negro boys on a hill nearby. The Negro boys made insulting remarks to the white boys and then advanced towards them. So just to paint the picture, you got some white boys down there practicing the track and some niggas sitting on a hill basically joning on them, bidding on them, roasting them. And then after roasting them for a while, the niggas went down there and confronted them. This is 1904. Okay? This is before segregation. And this may be the reason for segregation. Press 1. Shit like this may be the reason for segregation. Because you niggas always fucking with somebody. And I don't want to hear that it's not true, because we got 1,000 more stories for you tonight with niggas fucking with white people back in the day when y'all said y'all couldn't even look them in the eye. We got 1,000 stories of niggas fucking with white people, bullying white people, punking white people. This is just one. We just getting started tonight. You niggas used to give white people hell. That's why they instituted Jim Crow. To get the fuck away from you niggas. Press 1. So the story goes, Martin, the white boy, and several other white boys were practicing running on the track at Kerrs Park and were annoyed by several Negro boys on a hill nearby. The Negro boys made insulting remarks to the white boys and the latter advanced towards them. Gregory, the black boy, drew a pistol and fired into the crowd of white boys, hitting Martin. The Negro boys fled, and none was captured. The dead boy lived at 953 Minnesota Avenue with his mother, Miss Emma Martin, the owner of the Home Hotel. So the next day, after the black kids bullied and then murdered the white kid on school grounds, the next day, the Negro students kept out. The murder of Roy Martin, a freshman in the Kansas City, Kansas high school, by Louis Gregory, a Negro, at Kerrs Park yesterday afternoon caused a demonstration by the white pupils at the high school building at 9th Street and Minnesota Avenue in the city between 8 and 9 o'clock. So the black kids bullied and killed the white kid on school grounds. The next day, the white kids had a walkout. They walked out of class and demonstrated. They didn't lynch him. They demonstrated. This is 1904. He said I was Carmelo Anthony's great-grandfather. Facts. 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 Wow. Yo, we about to get cracking. He said, you should show them the bit you did on black lynches. Oh, we're going to get into all that. Trust me. We're going to get all that. And I'm going to bring you guys up. We're going to get into all of that. I'm going to bring you guys up. We're going to get into all of that. All right. We're going to get into all of that. All right. I got to set the table. I got to set the table. Okay. I got to set the table. So the next day, the white kids did a demonstration to protest because the black kids killed the white kid. There are 80 Negro pupils regularly attending the high school. And when these pupils went to school this morning, they were prevented from entering the building by 700 white pupils. So this school has 88. This school had a population of 80 black students and 700 white students. And niggas was bullying white kids and killing them on school grounds. It was just 80 niggas in the school in 1904. The building was surrounded by the boy pupils, while the great doorways were blocked by girls. Every window in the big building was filled with girls. So the white students protested by not allowing the black students into the school the next day. A crowd outside of the school. Out on the street, a crowd of several hundred persons had gathered. There were Negroes as well as white people in the crowd, and 15 or 20 policemen. Some of them in citizens' clothes formed a line along the curb between the high school boys and the crowd. On the stone steps at the southwest entrance of the building, M.E. Pearson, superintendent of schools, Mayor B. Gilbert, Professor W.C. McCraskey, principal of high school, and several of the men teachers on his staff were assembled. They realized the gravity of the situation and counseled the boys to moderation. It's no use. No Negro pupil can ever enter this building, at least until Roy Martin is buried, the boys declared. So the white kids, they were like, yo, you niggas can't come in this school until we bury this white kid that y'all killed on school grounds. It's 1904, y'all. 1904 in Kansas, the South. Because remember, Kansas is the South in those days. Okay? It said, we are not accusing. It says, look at this. It says, it was useless to argue with the boys. The 8:30 o'clock bell rang as usual, but nobody paid any attention to it. We are not accusing the Negro pupils of this high school with being responsible for Roy Martin's death, but we want to show how we feel about the cold-blooded murder, one of the boys told a reporter for the Star. And I guarantee niggas, when they tell this story, they tell it like, the white kids wouldn't let us in the school, man. They was racist. So the girls made a demonstration. The white girls, the white woman. She was like, the greatest demonstration, however, was by the girls. They formed in lines at the front entrance, determined, as they said, not to let a Negro inside the building. They did not want the white boys to go inside either. The demonstration on the part of the girls came when Professor A.A. Brooks, one of the oldest teachers in the school, talked to the boys from the front steps about being more careful in their expression of resentment and conduct toward the Negro pupils, who were innocent of any crime toward the whites. So at this point, everybody's trying to tell the white boys, everybody's talking to the white kids. Everybody's talking to the white kids. Look, Y'all gotta be kind to these Negroes. Even though you gotta behave with moderation. This angered some of the hot-headed youths, and they wanted to pull Professor Brooks from the steps. Besides Professor Brooks, other teachers had been doing quiet work, and members in the senior class decided they had better go inside the study hall. They started up the steps, but were met by the lines of girls who declared that the seniors stay outside with the other students to help drive the Negroes away in case any should try to enter the building. So yeah, so it goes on. There was going to be a race riot, but it got averted. The white people stopped the white boys from reacting violently, and everything was averted. To make a long story short. Now here goes the killing. I want you to think about this. This is 1904 at a school with 700 white kids and 80 black kids. The killing of Roy Martin at Kerrs Park was cold-blooded. The boy with several other students of the high school had gone to the racetrack to exercise running. R.L. Ward, one of the teachers, was with them and took a great interest in their sport. A crowd of 15 or 20 Negroes were standing in the enclosure beside the track. And as the boys passed the judges' stand, the Negroes would jeer them using insulting remarks. The white boys paid little attention to the Negroes until finally Martin, who was the captain of the team, told them to stop. John Alpine, a student, had just made a circuit of the track, and at the judges' stand, the Negroes renewed their taunts. Martin told them to let the boy alone. Then someone in the crowd of Negroes said, "Shoot him." Are y'all following this? Press 1 if you're following this. Press 1 if you're following this. This is absolutely insane. They down there fucking with these white kids trying to work out. The white kids say, "Hey, man, just leave us alone, man." Niggas keep fucking with them. Keep roasting them. White boy like, "Hey, man, can you just leave us alone?" Then the niggas say, "Shoot him." This is on school grounds with a teacher present. The teacher is there. What's his name? RL, whatever the fuck his name was, but Martin, the white boy, told them to let the other white boy alone. Then someone from the crowd of Negroes said, "Shoot him." Louis Gregory, a Negro, then drew a revolver and fired at Martin. Martin threw up his hands and fell. He did not speak. The Negro kept on firing, and the next shot aimed at Clarence Mook missed. Another was fired as Mook fell to the ground, but it missed him also. In the excitement, Louis Gregory, the Negro who fired the shots, escaped, but he was found by police last night at the home of a brother. This is unbelievable. This is 1904 in Kansas City. Niggas just wilding. I'm talking about wilding like the island of Shaolin. Okay?
And it was crazy. Moses, you live in Texas, another critical state, but you rather buck dance and coon your way through.
Willie, Willie, who is most likely to delete another black man?
Back then, white people was definitely most likely to delete black men.
You know what gets me about this is that
get away with it and get away with it.
Okay. If what hold on for a second. If what you were saying is true, then why in the hell did blacks want to move around whites then? If you mean to tell me most white men were if you mean to tell me that the likelihood of being killed was going to be by a white person, why in the F did a lot of blacks want to live around these people? Then?
Blacks didn't want to live. See, blacks didn't want to live around whites. This is why blacks created their own communities. It was the whites that was having problems with that. This is the part you ain't get. The only blacks that want to live around whites is Moses motherfucking buck dancing ass.
So the whites had a problem with the black communities, man. Whites had a problem with blacks living together. Go ahead, S-Free, go ahead, send it to my email or put it in the back chat when I drop the link, man.
Hey, this is what gets me. I'm in the South.
Who is that ugly ass white dude on the bottom left of the screen, man? Funny ass looking white dude, man. I think I know him from somewhere. I can't put my finger on it.
And here's the thing. We're comfortable here. We've bled, we put in the work. But niggas like him from Detroit, they go to New York, they move out the South. They go to Chicago. That's where most of the Chicago niggas is from Mississippi. They left the South. But they want to talk about us because we know our history and we good with it and we won't tolerate it. And now most of you niggas is trying to come back down here and live. That's because y'all getting y'all asses whooped today.
Savage with the $2 cash app. He says MLK was a threat because he was a communist. Yeah.
Again, Moses, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because this niggas coming down here, they moving from all back to the South. They moving to North Carolina. They moving to Texas. They coming back to the South. You guys tell our story here in the South. You tell our story more than we do, and y'all wasn't even here, nigga. You from Detroit? It kills me. It kills me when niggas from New York and Boston. These were free states.
No,
these were free states.
See, this is the part you don't know.
But they have more victimization than us people here in the South.
Let me know when you're done so I can educate your dumb black ass.
I'm serious. If you want to hear niggas talk about what the white man did, they're mostly up on the east and the north.
Let me respond to what you're saying, Moses.
Yeah.
First of all, blacks were slaves in the North as well. Okay.
Oh man.
But you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that because you don't want to be
not like the one like the South.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Y'all got some freedom real early. They even sent some of you niggas back to Liberia on the Amistad ship. Yeah, they did that too. So knock it off, dude. We were slaves. We didn't get. I'm in Texas. We didn't get slaved until we didn't get freed until 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation.
You don't celebrate it. You don't celebrate it.
And
you fight against it. You old Sambo.
There's most of you those cats that be talking about slavery and what the white man did. Y'all niggas ain't down here.
So hold on, CT. Can I respond?
Can I respond uninterrupted, CT?
I ain't that.
And I can step.
I'm gonna let you talk after that. Take it easy. Willie, if there was a video of me getting slapped, let's say by a guy who was a few inches taller than me, and I said I couldn't do nothing. If I told you the high school I went to, you would know there was barely any dudes there. If I got slapped and I didn't do nothing about it, Willie, and if I said, man, he was bigger than me, man, I could have done anything to him, Willie, you would call me a bitch. You'll call me a bitch.
No, I wouldn't, CT. I would recognize that you recognized your bitch in you and didn't fight back.
So just like that, Emmett Till's uncle was a bitch.
No.
Okay. He was a bitch, bro. He was a bitch, man.
So hold on, CT. Let me respond to your question.
Then let's get
First of all,
I want to respond to this.
They went into his house with guns.
Why you mean to tell me his uncle didn't have any guns?
Can I finish, CT?
Find that implausible.
CT, can I finish or you just gonna keep rudely cutting me off?
God damn it.
back then,
Do y'all know that white? Y'all know that other
It was
races
the
people wearing
police,
this
bro. What are you talking about? These people had the police had their back. What are you talking about?
You niggas. Hold up. You niggas get defiant with the police, and these police officers are armed tooth and nail with all types of military equipment, military arsenal. They might as well just have weapons of mass destruction on them when they pull you over. You mean to tell me that his uncle was afraid of a skinny white guy smoking a cigarette with a goddamn revolver? Stop it.
Right.
Bullshit.
This shit.
So when niggas scared of white people back in the day, what do you guys think, man? What do you guys think? You guys think that niggas were scared of white people back in the day? Do y'all think that Negroes were scared of white people back in the day? What do you niggas think, man? I'm gonna have to put a poll up later. I don't want to put a poll up too early. Pause. Because there's a lot of people in here that probably don't have enough information to make. Okay, so this is what year is this? This is 1901. May 4th, 1901, man. God damn. Jesus Christ, that's a long fucking time ago, man. May 4th, 1901. Shout out to Square from Squaresville. Says history Ock is the best. Ock salute. Appreciate it. Shout out to you, Square from Squaresville. Big Larry in the building. Big Larry coming through. Two lynch, 1904, May 4th, 1904. Yo, this is literally 50 years before Emmett Till. Shreveport, Louisiana. Do that qualify as the South? Do Shreveport, Louisiana qualify as the South? Okay. 2 lynchings are reported in specials to the Times at Rhodesia, 24 miles above here. Felton Bridgman, a Negro, was lynched for assaulting and brutally abusing a 6-year-old colored girl. He is supposed to have been lynched by Negroes. Bridgman confessed his crime. So that's one lynching on that day. Okay? And all these lynchings are part of the lynching. So when they say it was 3,000 lynchings, they're counting these. Okay, so when they talk about lynchings, they try to make you think that every lynching was a white person lynching a black person. There were plenty of lynchings of black people lynching black people and black people lynching white people. And white people lynching Italians and all on and on. The second lynching that day was at Alden Bridge, 6 miles from Benton, in Brochere Parish. Grant Johnson was strung up by a mob. Johnson kept a Negro gambling house and was a menace to the peace of the neighborhood. He had been warned to leave, but refused. About a year ago, Johnson killed a Negro, but escaped punishment. He was defiant to the last. So this nigga had a gambling house, basically disturbing the peace. Probably had niggas in and out all night, cars parking on people lawns, big ruckus, juke joint. Niggas in the neighborhood lynched his ass, killed his ass. Said, man, They told him to leave. He didn't leave. They strung his ass up on a tree. So he had 2 lynchings that day in Shreveport, both done by niggas. One to a dude who brutally abused a 6-year-old colored girl, and another one to a dude who had a gambling house and wouldn't leave town. Niggas was standing on business. Press 1. Where these niggas? We need these niggas nowadays to get the drug dealers out the neighborhood. We need these niggas to come get these YNs to turn themselves in when they spray up the block. These were some good niggas back in the day, man. Shout out to these old niggas holding it, standing on business back in the day. Wow. You talking about some wow. We got another one, man. Feels like another one. Everybody hit that like button, man. Smash that like button, man. Smash that like button, man. Smash it. These motherfuckers say niggas was bitches back in the day. Niggas was bitches. The black man was a bitch back in the day. According to Chaotic Truth, man. Shout out to Chaotic too, man. It ain't no beef, man. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of like irked me when I heard him call them black men bitches back in the day. When we at Ock Nation, know nothing could be further from the truth. These niggas was standing on business. Shreveport, Louisiana. Let me see what year this is. 1901. 1901, Shreveport, Louisiana. Lynching of Negro. One is strung up in Louisiana by members of his own race. Negroes today in the Herndon Plantation, 8 miles south of Shreveport, lynched Frank Thomas, one of their own race, because he had shot and killed a Negro boy over a debt of 30 cents. I'm going to repeat that again. Negroes today in Herndon Plantation, 8 miles south of Shreveport, lynched Frank Thomas, one of their own race, because he had shot and killed a Negro boy over a debt of 30 cents. Nowadays, niggas will be like, man, I'm minding my business. That shit ain't got nothing to do with me, man. I'm minding my business. I ain't snitching. Them niggas said, what? You did what? Them niggas said, you did what? And they strung his ass up on a tree. They said, you did what? Man, get a rope. And strung his ass up on a tree. And let him swing. Pause. Also, yo, in Columbia, South Carolina, that same day, an unknown Negro was lynched in Anderson County. Yesterday afternoon, the man went to the house of Miss Perry Craft and asked for something to eat. When she turned, the Negro shot her through the back, inflicting a fatal wound. The man fled but was pursued by hundreds of men. There are no details in the manner of his death. Nowadays, niggas will be minding their business. The police will be begging niggas to turn them in. The police will be begging for information nowadays. If that happened, if a nigga walked up on a woman's door, rang her doorbell, asked her for something to eat. When she turned to go get him something to eat, he shot her in the back and ran away. The police wouldn't get one fucking tip from the community nowadays. Press 1. These niggas back in the day wasn't no bitches. They was more honorable than 1,000 times more honorable than you niggas are today. Them niggas went and got that nigga, and he was dealt with. Okay? Dealt with that nigga. Okay? Dealt with that nigga. Dealt with his ass. Got him up out of there. Like, yeah, man, gotta get you up out of here, man. We gotta get you up out of here, bro. Gotta get you up out of here, man. You out here wilding, man. We gonna get you up out of here right quick, man. We gonna get a rope and we gonna get you up out of here. You heard me? None of that. We begging the community. We're begging the community. Please, anybody in the community, can you give us a tip? We need a tip, man. Can one of you guys become a tipster? Huh? Listen, niggas was standing on business. Niggas wasn't no punks, man. Niggas stood on business. Them niggas, they was standing on business. Standing. You heard me? Niggas wasn't no punks. They was standing on business. What year was this, man? Let me see what year this is first. What year is this? The early 1900s. I don't know. It's a long fucking time ago, okay? The early 1900s. Let me look at let me see what year this could have been. I'll get back to that. Hold on. Negroes lynch a Negro. St. Louis, September 21st. A special from Luxoria says Negroes overpowered the sheriff here, took out a Negro named Helm, and hanged him to a water tank where his body was left dangling. Helm was charged with criminally assaulting 2 little Negro girls, aged 5 and 10. So now it's listen, now it's no snitching. Back in them days, it was we going down to the jail, we gonna overpower the sheriff, and we gonna hang the nigga on the spot and leave his body dangling. Okay? So we not playing with you niggas. You heard me? Niggas wasn't playing. Talking about these people wasn't no punks. These niggas was bout it and rowdy. What year is this? This is 1904. Damn, 1904 was a hell of a year, man. See, niggas hate this because niggas want to play victim. Niggas want to be like, oh, the white man used to have us. No, the white man didn't. No. All the white man wanted was to be segregated from you niggas. Press 1. That's all the white man wanted was to be segregated from y'all. Y'all have y'all shit and we have our shit. And yes, if y'all raped a little white girl or raped a white woman, yes, they would string you up on a tree. But other than that, you niggas was all gravy. You niggas was good. You niggas was good. All the white man wanted was to be left the fuck alone. Go build your own movie theater. Go build your own Black Wall Street. Leave us the fuck alone. December 7th, 1904. Negro mob wanted to lynch murderer. Only the most determined effort on the part of white men has prevented the lynching of William Vaughn. I'm going to say that again. You niggas was lynching like a motherfucker. I can tell you that much now. You niggas was lynching like shit. Only the most determined effort on the part of white men has prevented the lynching of William Vaughn at the hands of a Negro mob in Russell County, Alabama. Vaughn confessed that he robbed his wife's grandmother, set fire to her house, murdered her, and threw her bleeding body into the flames a few days ago. After the capture of Vaughn, a mob of Negroes quickly assembled. Only a most determined front on the part of Sheriff Bellamy and a number of white men saved the Negro's life. Why would these white men try to save this Negro's life? I'm gonna drop the link, man, because I want to know why are these white men trying to save these Negroes' lives, man. Please don't make me regret dropping the link this early, man. I'm trying to cook tonight. Yeah, man. Why would these white men try to save this? That nigga was dead wrong, but you know what? The white men wanted to go through the court system. The white man was like, look, man, he guilty of sin, but he still deserves his day in court. The nigga was like, hell nah, we know that nigga did it. He confessed. That nigga confessed. Get a rope. And I don't blame him. I don't blame them niggas for saying that shit. I don't blame them. What's cracking?
What's up, Ak?
The white
Salute.
man's justice, apparently.
Yeah, salute to Irish Goon. He says, salute, Ak. Damn, are all sons delusional? Bill looks like he's enjoying the show. Salute to all the gliders out there realizing sons are full of it. Yeah, man, them niggas lying like shit. They ain't have it that bad back in the day. Now, yeah, if you fucked up and you harass some white dude wife, the wrong white dude, yeah, you could possibly, get in some trouble. If you rape some white woman,
you harassed the wrong Negro's wife, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
And notice, and when you went over that story, when the blacks lynched that other black dude for 30 cent debt, there were also white dudes who were also in the lynch mob. I read that.
Wow.
So it's like it seems to be in some cases both communities came together to enact justice on the wrongdoers. You know what I mean? Right. It seems to me like they had a mutual understanding of that.
Yeah, and everybody act like they was just running around killing niggas. That's the thing about the lynching. They grouped the lynchings into a big, nice pile. 3,000 black people was lynched from 1880 to such, and they don't tell you nothing about the story. None of the reasons. They don't tell you who did it. They just say they were lynched. You notice that? They don't say it was a white dude lynched a black dude. They say there were 3,000 lynches for such and such, such and such, and that was during racism. Say, no, motherfucker, we gonna go through each one of them motherfuckers and see what happened to each one of them lynches, motherfucker.
And notice how all that shit happens to this day. Notice how there's consistency. It's consistent. It's consistent. It's it's a pattern. But sons are horrible with pattern recognition.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You talk about the murder stats from back in the day. None of these are considered murders. Lynchings aren't considered murders. They're lynchings. Like, you got lynched. You deserve, you know what I'm saying? It was justice.
Extrajudicial killing.
Exactly. It was justice. These aren't murders. These niggas was, I mean, they were killing. Like, so let's see this. 1901. Negroes will lynch Negro. Offender guilty of several atrocious murders in Louisiana. Winesboro, Louisiana, December 18th, 1901. A Negro mob with bloodhounds is in pursuit of Noah McLondon, a young Negro who killed Amanda Wright, his mother-in-law, Mary McLondon, his wife, and Cuss Wright, his brother-in-law, and seriously wounded Wash Smith. He will be lynched by members of his own race if caught. So it's a mob out looking for a nigga at the time of this video. A mob of black dudes chasing down some nigga who committed a triple homicide.
With bloodhounds.
And they haven't caught him yet, but the newspaper says when they catch him, they're going to lynch him. And that's one of the lynchings, one of the 3,000 lynchings between 1880 and 1953.
It kind of reminds me, Ak, of because you mentioned gladiators and their court system, and we know how in Africa they yell thief, right? And they immediately want to handle it then and there.
Oh yeah, they yell thief. If somebody yell thief in the African market, man, you better start explaining yourself immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit. They bloodthirsty, man.
Consistent behavior, man. What more can you say?
Yeah, shit, facts. So this is, what year is this? This one that I'm about to do. Damn.
1907.
1907. Jeez. God, dog.
Imitating the whites.
Negroes lynch Negro. Imitating the whites, they take law in their own hands. Olive Ranch, Mississippi, July 20th. Andrew Trice, a Negro accused of the murder of his mistress with an axe, was lynched here early today by 30 members of his own race. The Negroes took Trice from officers who had arrested him and then killed. Why didn't the officers kill the niggas? The niggas is interfering with your job. I'm a sheriff. I'm an officer. How dare you Negroes in 1901 look me in my fucking eye, let alone come take a prisoner from me by force?
This dispels all their fucking accusations. This completely throws it out the window. They weren't afraid of the cops, and they fucking police their own.
And listen, the cops put up a fight, like the lynching we covered like a couple of stories ago. The cops put up a fight. You know what I'm saying? That's their job. They're not like just giving up to their prisoner. They cops. It was just like today. You try to take a prisoner from a cop. It's the same thing. It's just that they came 30 deep. And in those days, the sheriff would probably be a sheriff and a couple deputies at the the jailhouse or whatever, and they overpowered him. They killed him and threw his body in a river. These dudes was not no punks, man. These dudes, if they came back today, they would be fucking raising hell in the hood. Some little kid get hit with a stray bullet, these dudes would come find. I bet you they would find the little YN who spun the block. I bet you it would be YN swinging from trees everywhere you look. If these dudes from this time could be transported into the future. You'll see a YN swinging from a tree and you wouldn't even fucking give it a second look.
I'm dead.
Sounds like Blackenstein would be safer.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You would think you would have to think twice about what you did. You would have to definitely think twice about what you did. October 9th, 1909, man. October 9th, 1909.
You mentioned they threw him in the river, right? I hear Tariq Nasheed talk about the ancestors in the rivers. How like we gotta tap into their energy. Is that who he was talking about? This soundword that got
all the ancestors that ended up in the river.
Killed by his own people.
Jesus Christ. Yikes. That's some crazy shit there, man. That's some crazy shit there. No comment.
There was a lot of those entries. How many do you think there were?
I mean, it's probably thousands and thousands. This is just somebody. Where'd you get this S-Freak? This is just like a catalog of them. It's not
like somebody posted this online. They have like their own blog, and they also detail white on black lynchings too.
Yeah, can you get us some white on black lynchings? Because we want to see what the reason was.
Yeah, sure. And I also posted that other link to that video.
Oh, in the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get the other lynchings to whatever you want to do first.
Yeah. Salute. Negroes attempt to lynch black thief. Tulsa, Oklahoma. So this is in Tulsa. Isn't that the site of Black Wall Street?
I think so.
So I've heard.
Niggas, 1909, October 8th. 15 Negroes boarded a train at Weibart today and attempted to take Arthur Manny, a Negro charged with horse stealing, away from Sheriff Hooper with the intention of lynching him. Sheriff Hooper held the crowd at bay with his revolver until the train started, and then with the assistance of the conductor, forced the entire mob to jump from the moving cars.
Yo, this is like a fucking movie.
Has no white citizens. So this town has this is an all-black town.
100%.
Manny was taken to Muskogee and landed in jail. They had to take the nigga to another district, another jurisdiction to keep him from this mob. Ain't that a bitch?
Man, gliders suck at racism, man.
Right. I'm telling you, man. They are horrible at it. Let's see what the wicked and what chaotic and these people was talking about, because that's just the part that got me annoyed when they talking about
learned scholars. Let's see what they had to say.
Yeah, those dudes back in the day was punk. Those dudes back in the days make these dudes nowadays. These dudes nowadays ain't even men compared. The stuff that go on the community that go unchecked, them niggas back in the day wasn't. Man, they wouldn't even. They would if they came back today, they would look at us like we were like pansies, like we were girly men by letting the shit that we let go on in the community. Salute to Amazing Disgrace. She says, "I'm glad you are pointing out the hypocrisy of the lynching fallacy." Yeah, salute to you, man. We keeping it cracking, man. Everybody hit the like button if you new, subscribe to the channel.
shit is crazy.
You niggas talk shit, get in police officers' face right now, and they got all types of weapons on them. They got AR-15s in the car, and y'all niggas get in their face.
Don't forget them shotguns.
You gonna do? Stop it, bro. Stop. That's bullshit. What you talking about?
Can I respond to this? So I can get out of here.
Bullshit.
Can I respond to this? So chaotic, because you are a 21st century tap dancer. You are clearly
the Nigerian tether.
If I was a black man, you would find this motherfucking tap dancer God ever put on earth. Because I'm dancing to the white man. You better goddamn well believe it. Because it's a fucking white country, and that's how you fucking get wealthy in this country. You dance to the fucking tune. Don't ever run from that shit. I mean, circular ass kiss.
Brave in the underwear on his head days.
Tap dancing, in my opinion, is a nice way to put it. That's why I like Shenard creating that term. I'm the tap dancing this motherfucker has ever been when I go into a place of employment. I put on my shoes because I'm doing what the boss says you better damn well. If I like working there, I'm a tap dancing motherfucker. So that's why in the future, Jay, if somebody calls you a tap dancer, say everybody tap dances and nobody gets out.
Okay, let me be very clear. Let me be very clear about something. So I find it ironic. I find it ironic for someone who graduated from Kent State in 1970, violence against non-violent students at your college, right? Handing out flowers and getting shot by government soldiers, right? That's your lineage through your school.
Government.
So all this stuff. No, don't interrupt me. When I stop bringing the heat, let me get my complete because you can't respond to it really.
Calm your ass down, or you're gonna have a heart attack.
No, we don't listen to you now. We don't do that. We did it then. We don't do it now. And there's a reason why. And there's a reason. No, you don't want me to say. Can I say what I have to say, and then you can respond? Can we be adults, or is what I'm saying so harmful and painful you can't handle it? So this is the deal. Black life was radically different pre-1965 than what it is now. All right. So this idea that that black folks had all this freedom of movement, that they can just kick ass randomly like this, it's ludicrous. There were a number of Emmett Till stories. Emmett Till was not the only one where that kind of thing happened. Even 11 years before that, there was the lynching of Willie James Howard. Willie James Howard.
Oh my God, bro! I don't want a history lesson. Afro
You made
nerd.
that
Jesus.
name up.
Hold on, man. Hey, Afro nerd.
Just say Jim Crow. You know.
Afro nerd. I'm just gonna say it. You black. Hold on, Petty. Petty. Man, hey, look, Afro nerd. I can't do the history. I can't do the history.
You just made up a black name.
No, listen, bro. Afro nerd. Our ancestors were bitches. They didn't figure out how to fight. They didn't figure out how to be dominant. I don't give a goddamn about these little lynch stories. And be honest with you, man. That's whole shit what happened. Because if that shit were to happen now, everybody be laughing and giggling to be memes and shit. I'm tired of these.
Yeah, mute out.
They wasn't no bitches. No, sir. Those dudes back in the day were not no bitches. And your video is not playing as free. Your video is not playing. Your bitch shoot video is not playing.
That's fine. But I found something. I'll see if I can get another link. But I found something else on the crime rates. You're gonna find it interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna show you that. Look at this one. Look at this. Look at the type of shit niggas did back in the day. Let's see what this is. February 24th, 1913. Okay, 1913. Okay, February. Let me switch to the page. Salute to everybody out there, man. Continue to hit the like button as you come in, man. Continue to support the channel. See, thing is that you can argue with niggas, you know what I'm saying? But it's better to just not argue, man. I can, the arguing is fun. Don't get me wrong. I ain't gonna sit here and lie, man. I used to argue all day on the stoop, you know what I'm saying, with niggas and shit. I used to do that all day. You know what I'm saying? It can be fun. Don't get me wrong. But at some point, The lies are so egregious. The black victimhood is so misleading, and it puts these guys in a bad light. These guys are from the grave smiling. They're like, thank you, Ock Nation, for showing these dudes how we used to stand on business. We
Those
wasn't
Negro lynch
feeble.
mobs are smiling down on you, Ock.
Yeah, we wasn't feeble. We was about that life. This one says, mob of Negroes lynch Negro. Webb is summarily executed after killing 4. February 24th. Willis Webb, a Negro, was lynched by members of his turn to him and hold on. Was lynched. Okay. Willis Webb, a Negro, was lynched by members of his turn to him and falling short. Maybe it's cut off.
This one took me a few times through. I think there's something wrong there.
Shot and killed 2 Negro men. He sought to induce a negress to return to him and failing, shot her and her mother, then her father and her brother, and the girl who appeared. So this dude killed an entire. He tried to holler at this chick, and when she rejected his advances, he killed her entire family.
So they were the number 1 killers of sisters in 1913 too.
He killed her whole family, her mother, her father, her brother, and her.
Doesn't this sound like that story that happened in Memphis that we covered last night?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the other guy. Yeah, well, the
Which
guy,
one?
but it was the group of guys came back and shot up the dude got in a fight with his baby mother. Then he went and got his boys, and they came back and shot up the house and killed the brother and killed her and, shot the mothers.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Some things never
the
change.
brothers are consistent, as you can see.
Yeah, some things never change, man. Yeah, man. It said thousands of whites and blacks gather in a festive mood to watch 2 Negro demons get lynched.
Jesus Christ.
You're not sharing your screen anymore. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I'll just let me.
You know, I'd love for these hoteps to explain this, but we both know they're not going to say nothing.
No, they would come up with some way to say this isn't accurate. The white man, of course, the white people won't say this. Of course, white people won't say that.
They control the newspaper.
The Sun Man would never.
You trust the white man newspaper? It says so. This is Shawnee, Oklahoma. This is what year is this? This is what year is this? It doesn't say what year it is, but it's a long time ago. Shawnee, Oklahoma. After it is said he had confessed to killing 2 women and attacking many others, Ed Berry, a Negro, was lynched here by a mob which took him away from officers. Lynching occurred at scene of one of his crimes. Damn,
And pop lemonade and sandwiches were sold there, apparently.
Okay, here we go. Here it is. Make hanging a picnic. Lynching in Oklahoma. 2 Negroes were hanged here yesterday before 8,000 spectators who sang hymns at the Negroes' request. 1,500 women, white and darkies, in gay-colored clothes were among the spectators. Pop lemonade and sandwiches were sold, the scene resembling a circus run. Now, they would make us think that it was only white people there.
Wow. That is eye-opening.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it that one.
Listen,
but it's not surprising. Now, if we think about it, knowing what we know, that's not really surprising.
Yeah, and the niggas probably deserved it. Let's be honest.
But I'm saying like that some man, why, like some people in the crowd watching,
And requesting that hymns be sung.
Yeah, I mean, of course, niggas enjoy a good lynching, man. When you see a fight nowadays, black people love fight. They enjoy the energy when there's a fight. Black people start dancing and jumping around.
Selling pop and lemonade.
Imagine how they would be around a lynching.
But I mean, even how gliders were not excluding them, allowing them to just intermingle and just be in the
shit. It was their idea half the time.
Shit, how you gonna tell a group
they
of
invited the gliders?
Ask them to leave.
This is 1922, right? Yeah, you gonna ask a bunch of sons to leave? And listen, these sons was all packing too. Like, let's not.
Yeah.
Like, these sons have fought in wars. A lot of these sons fought in the Civil War, the Spanish-American War,
the Indian
War.
They
fought the Indians. They fought
the Mexicans.
Buffalo soldiers.
All these sons knew how to use them guns too. They wasn't just
they were fighting each other,
shooting sideways. They knew how to handle a gun.
Right. Real quick, that story you did earlier about the one son kid that opened fire on the white kids. I think about that, right? If only those sonwards knew that their descendants would have switches unloading into crowds, dude, it would fuck their mind up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the switch will fuck anybody's mind up from that era. But yeah, they didn't care about the white. They saw the white kids down there practicing. They was down there roasting it. It's down there, just doing a bunch of sons just roasting a bunch of white boys in 1904.
But it said that they opened fire on the crowd, right? I mean,
no, they shot the white boy, and then he started just shooting at the other white boys.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, you can't argue.
Well, the one white boy who said "Leave us alone," he shot him through the heart.
Like, no one can argue against that. That's happening right now, dude.
I mean, the parallels to the Austin Metcalf story are like, hey, can you please, stop trying to enter our school after you shot dead one of the other whites here?
This is crazy. 1,000 Baltimore Negroes sought to lynch a Negro. October 31st, 1922.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And they probably all had guns. A policeman and an alleged Negro murderer were stabbed in a disturbance here today when about 1,000 Negroes attempted to take Bishop Hawkins, arrested for killing of Ethel Starring. Negroes sought to lynch and allegedly slay her. Police dispersed the mob and took the wounded men to the hospital. So that cop almost gave his life to save that son from this lynch mob.
It seems to be a common happening.
What's up, new guy? What's your thoughts, man?
Not much. I just I saw a story yesterday that I think you probably covered about like a bunch of like sons on a porch just eliminating each other basically.
Yeah, we saw that. We did
I don't know,
that
maybe
yesterday.
you already covered it.
Yeah, we did that yesterday. That we did it. That wasn't even the worst case from yesterday.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
keep up, new guys. It's Tuesday. That was Monday.
Wasn't there like 14 people killed though, or at least injured in that?
Hey, come on, bro. That was in Chicago. That was like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Right. Keep up, new guy.
No, but this like these little little peeks back into history. Like none of this shit surprises me. It's at all. It's like,
well, you're a regular viewer of Ock Nation.
It's well, even before that, it wouldn't have surprised me because it all aligns with like the black psychology.
Yeah, listen to this. This is a doozy here, a straight up doozy. 1899. God damn. Negroes have revenge. They kill a member of their race for his efforts in running down criminals and conspirators. Alf Thurman, a well-known and respectable Negro, was shot from ambush and killed by men of his own color near Leesburg, Georgia, through revenge because of his activity in exposing and running down Negro criminals and conspirators. A special to the Atlanta Constitution says, when George Bivens, George Fort, and Bill Holt, 3 Negroes, outraged Miss Maroney in this county a few months ago, they were run down by Thurman. And it was through his efforts that they were brought to justice and later lynched. Thurman at that time expressed himself as bitterly opposed to the crime committed by the Negroes and openly stated that he would use all his efforts toward their capture, which he did. His life was threatened by friends of the dead Negroes. The lynched Negroes' friends had arranged to kill 3 prominent white men of the county who had made threats against Bivens, Holtz, and Fort and were about to carry it out when Thurman heard of it and began to hunt out the schemers to prevent the murders. Y'all following this?
This is in Georgia, right?
Yeah, 1899.
Press 1 if you following that.
1.
Leesburg, Georgia. Jesus. Okay, so he also succeeded in completely trapping the 9 conspirators when they turned the tables and shot him dead in the road. The parties were nearly all known, and a number of arrests will be made. This part of the county has been terrorized by a band of outlaws for several years. The 3 who were lynched in January being their leaders. It was thought then that a stop had been put to their work, but now it has broken out anew, and a law-abiding Negro who was trying to assist in bringing criminals to justice is shot down on a public highway. See, these dudes wasn't no punk. That's what I'm saying. These dudes wasn't no bitches. That dude Thurman wasn't no bitch. He was out there. He Al Thurman. He was out there handling business in the community. Niggas want to commit crime. A band of niggas terrorizing the community. He went out and tracked them niggas down. All the leaders and got them lynched. And then went to track down the rest of the niggas. And then they killed them.
And he was trying to protect a white guy too, I think it says, right?
Yeah, white guy. They were going to kill them because some white guys had threatened the first 3 that got lynched. Some white guys had threatened them. So because the white guys had threatened the black dudes that would terrorize the community in 1899, some other black dudes were going to kill the white guys for threatening some other Negroes in 1899.
And this guy was gonna help save the white guys. Dude, this is just
track them down before they could kill them.
Dude, this is insane.
AKA a buck dancer.
Yeah, they're gonna call him a buck dancer sellout. But he was trying to, but they were terrorizing the community. He was trying to listen. He got the first 3 lynched. Caught them niggas. This bad dude. I'd love to see a movie. That gotta be a movie. He tracked down those 3 dudes, brought them back to get lynched, then went to get 9 more. Yo, this dude was bad, dog. Dude ain't no bitch. You know what I'm saying? Where is he today? Who can you compare him to today?
But how come with all these cases, how come sons don't talk about this? Because surely there might be some people who pass.
I guarantee no, they don't. Niggas don't. If it's in a book, if you want to hide your money from burglar, a Negro burglar, put it in the book. Niggas don't know this shit.
No, but somewhere along the line they must have passed the stories down to their fucking.
No, they don't know. This shit would have got lost. This would have got lost. See, this you gotta understand. The victimhood, once we switched to the Democratic Party, became victims, it's like the victimhood became our power. Our power is in victim, how much of a victim we are. We shall overcome. You know what I'm saying? Like we marching and shit and getting sprayed with tear gas. That became like our power, our strength was in our resolve and our, you know what I mean, our determination. And before that, though, niggas was standing on business, straight up. Shout out to Nicolad. He says glider cops defending these son degenerates back then. Gliders get an F in racism. P. Ann says, now that you're shirtless, show us how that belly burn healed up. Thank me later, chat. Oh yeah, I showed you the other. I'll show y'all in another video. But yeah, it's healed up. It's almost blended in with my skin. I was lucky, man. I was very lucky. You heard about that guy who blew his hand off the other day, the gangster rapper?
Dynamite.
Yeah, with the M80s. Yeah, something like that happened so quick. Almost, if it had been if I didn't have such a big gut, I would have burnt my dick off. But the shit hit my gut before it could get to my midsection, my shit. Because when I dropped the hot water, it just hit my big fat belly instead of going down to my joint. Thank God, man. Because if that joint would have got burnt, man, I'm a son, man. Lord, have Jesus Christ. Might as well end it all, man. But yeah, man. This is crazy, man. This your video won't play though, but in the back, man. Your the video that you tried to
I don't think it's S-Freak, I think he might have got disconnected.
Oh, S-Freak got disconnected. Okay. Let me see if he's in the back. No, he's not back yet. Let me so this is violent crimes. This is prison and crime records by race.
Sure,
black and white.
What year?
1904 to 1960. Let's see. I gotta figure this out. Okay. Native number per 1,000, number per 1,000 native white, foreign born, white native. This is hard to figure out. But anyway, in Alabama, there were 260 sentenced to prisons per 100,000. And 260 whites. And in Alabama, it was 1,798 blacks. So 260 whites went to prison, was sentenced to prison that year, and 1,798 blacks.
Shocker. Yo, free S-Freaks in the back. All right, can we? I mean, what does this say about people that argue that it's culture and it's not DNA? What is this? Everything with this behavior that's occurring today, was occurring back then. Is it what culture?
Nah, man, it's definitely DNA, man. Definitely DNA, as I always say. It's DNA, man. That's the easiest thing for it to be.
I mean,
that's Occam's razor.
What was it? Drill music back in 1904?
Drill vaudeville, vaudeville.
Yeah,
drill jazz.
This shit was like, what the fuck, man? Like, come on, man. It's definitely DNA, man, without a doubt, man. And you know what? Let's fast forward to modern times, man. The more modern times, man. Because I know the people probably looking at like, yo, you've proved your point. You've proved your point. You don't need to. Your point has been proved, man. Let's come to more modern times, man. Let's see what the Suns is doing. Oh yeah, you know what? Okay, here we go. Let's see what the niggas doing. 1973. Let's see this. All right.
Yo, Hezekiah is posting stuff like every hour.
Corner somewhere. They just killed a little boy down there in the 1900 of Vanto Street the other day. Beat him to death. And not one person stopped him. So NBC and nobody else ain't gonna do nothing about that. Thank you. You're welcome.
We hold the Bible as our guide and our hope. And we know that the Bible says, as it was in the days of Noah, it would be in the day of the Son of Man. And the Bible shows that this is a time of the end that we live in. And violence will fill the earth. But God has a purpose for man, and He's going to wipe out every wicked soul. Have you talked to the gang members? I don't know who is a gang member. We go from house to house. We talk to people. We show them from the Bible. The Bible says if you turn away from violence, God is going to give you a reward. But if you continue in violence, He's going to sweep the earth clean from all this and bring a destruction to those who hate and those who are ruining His earth. Because that's not God's way. God's way is love. If we want love for God, love is we have to work according to His will and purpose. This is the thing that why Jesus died. Right. He died that we might live and live eternally. So this is our work. Right. We work in a community and we show people from the Bible.
Muted.
Yeah, there's no sound on the video.
1973, 50 years ago. I muted because some parts he can't play because of so you got to play music over because of copyright.
Oh yeah, because of copyright.
They need help. They want help.
Here we go. This nigga.
Oh yes, no problem. They welcome me with open arms. They need help. They want help. They want to be feel the made wanted, that somebody cares, somebody loves. This is the percentage-wise I'm speaking. But that 5%, that die hardcore, as far as I'm concerned, crush them.
Mm-hmm. Could I ask you to talk and to lean back in your chair? Just keep talking. All right, try it once more. If you could lean forward, and then I'll ask you a question. Lean forward the way you were. I'm sorry, this is for editorious groups.
And they can move into the next bracket of 10 years of age, 12 years of age. 15 now, they're a big guy. 16, 17, they're ready to move out. Now,
this sounds like today. You know how they always say young kids today. It was 15-year-olds back then, according to this guy. It was 12-year-olds back then.
They lie. Like they're born liars. That's all they know how to do.
I'll ask you a question.
Particularly
Lean
long
forward the way
memories
you were. I'm
either.
sorry, this is for editorious groups.
And they can move into the next bracket of 10 years of age, 12 years of age. 15 now, they're a big guy. 16, 17, they're ready to move out. Now, in the past, where this old head, may I say, whose ages will start at 16, 17, 18, 19, he's pulling out because now he realized that the ugliness is not to his advantage. And in the past, this old head, may I say, didn't reach back to help his young brother or to correct him, to let him know that this is the wrong way. But now we're getting this old head to reach back to help us to correct this little guy and to let this guy and little guy know that this is not the right direction. This is the help I'm getting now.
Violence interrupter.
Plus your neighborhood groups, plus your dedicated people. Out there, we have a lot of dedicated people that you don't even know about who's doing a job that the city might have reason to do for nothing. There's a Edmino Roberts, there's a Steve Penner, there's a guy named Country, there's a Tom Brown, there's a Joe Lewis. They're out there helping us in the various areas of the city for nothing. And these are some of the people that I'd like to get on record.
Country, what is there all this violence? Is that a real story or is it a lot of statistics that people have made up?
No, it's real.
Why does it happen day after day?
Why does it happen? Like, these other gangs get down on us, you see. And we can defend ourselves, you know. Like, we can let nobody run over us, you know. That's where it all starts.
Remember? Oh, the gangs were created to stop the racists. Remember that?
Fucking lie ever told.
The gangs was created to protect the community from racist white people. And then they over the years they devolved into, you know, banging on other black gangs, but that
Because
their
white people choose
origin,
to be violent against each other.
yeah, exactly. Their origin, well, though, was to protect the community. They were community protectors. Salute to L.A. Ramon. He says, "What up, Ak? As a born and raised Oklahoman, I can tell you it has always been a majority sunny state with regular sunny activities." Salute to L.A. Ramon, man. Coming with the truth bombs. If you got some truth bombs, man, make sure you let these people know, man. This is the episode to let them know, man. Don't hold back, man. Salute to L.A. Ramon, man. Pinky Brown with the super sticker. Shout out to Pinky Brown. Salute to Pinky Brown. Jack me off. We love Jack me off. We love it when you come around, man. You will always give us a really good feeling, man. Jack me off, man. He says, "This is the show I wanted to see. I need to pay my admission." Facts, man. Pay your admission, man. Or we gonna have the ushers
Step right
come and
up.
boot your ass out. Look at this Negro, man. This Negro, he honest, man. Think about how well he speaks to compared to the gangsters. Even the gangsters in those days, the gangbangers, even though he's probably just as violent and just as treacherous as any gangster from nowadays, as we know, he speaks. You can understand what he's saying. He's not afraid. He's not ashamed that you can understand what he's saying.
And then what happens after?
I get the what? At the fighting over. Everybody's go where they want to go, like go to the girl house, or get some wine and all that.
What are some of the other problems?
Like people breaking other people's houses, all that. Stick ups.
What could the city or anybody do to help the gangs steer away from some of the violence? You mentioned jobs when we were talking earlier before.
Yeah.
How would jobs make a difference?
One thing we be out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. Or be on the corners, be working, After work, we tired. Going home,
You're just too tired to do anything.
Yeah, too tired to do anything.
Are most of the
So basically, you gotta wear niggas out. This so slavery, so that means
slavery. He needs to be in chains.
Yeah, he's admitting that slavery was not nearly that bad because it gave niggas something to do, and at the end of the day, they were tired.
Man, God damn! I'm telling you, these liberals are on to something when they say they just have nothing to do. They're right.
I'm telling you, man.
They need to be at work
They haven't had
camps.
anything to do since 1865.
I'm telling you, man. Jeez. Wow.
Wait, did he actually say that, or is he implying it?
I think he said it.
No, he said it, man. Salute to Deluxe
No.
247, aka Cal Ripken, aka the real MVP, coming through once again. Shout out to Pamela Henderson.
I will say this though, you gotta admire their honesty at that point in time.
Yeah, they were very honest.
At that time, they were.
And the white people were honest too, because the white people, if they wanted to be racist, if they wanted, they could talk to blacks the way they wanted to talk. We haven't seen no evidence that white people were thought or even considered that a black person would be afraid of them on any of these videos. No white person is give me a hint. They like, yeah, I'm a big bad white dude, and black dudes cower in my presence. You don't see none of that.
The people who live on a corner or on a block, do most of them belong to gangs?
Yeah, most of them, yeah.
Can they get out anytime they want?
Anytime they want, yeah, if they want to, but most of the time they don't.
How long have you belonged to gangs? When did you join? Tell me a little bit about your personal
I
history.
joined 68.
How old were you then?
15.
Is that young or is that old? Or
Young.
And how old are you now?
19.
Does there have to be people dead? What could he do?
I don't think you can do anything right now.
What are you going to be doing today?
I wasn't gonna go swimming.
And what do you do most of the time? Just sort of hang around corners?
Yes, I work.
You work, right.
Yeah,
What about most of the guys in the gang? What do they do most of the day? When it rains?
Drinking wine, you know. Go to somebody's house.
Sit around. There's a lot of sitting around.
Yep.
Too much of it.
Not too much of it, you know.
Pretty much what was going on in Philadelphia the other day.
What's
I'm telling you.
Everybody mad, just
They were.
like when people go to funerals, like everybody be mad, you know, like they don't see nobody. They say something, you know, they speak everybody move, you know.
What about this guy, Clayton?
Zach Clayton, look over here, the gang too. He ain't doing nothing.
Fired somebody from your love. He had some guy, Gary.
I know.
He gave somebody a job.
I know.
His hair looks like one of those Russian hats.
They mean they locked them up or what?
Yeah, if you lock him up at night, they'll be back in the street tomorrow. So what's the difference?
Wow. If you lock them up tonight, they'll be back on the streets tomorrow. What's the difference? Damn.
And yeah, the racist society of the 1970s.
Jesus Christ.
Do you think they could do more than they're doing?
Well, they're copying the best they can. And they do a good job. They're really doing their job.
What would you recommend to stop it all?
Are you going to take my wife? Well, I don't know. Well, the best thing I know to do is just to get a project. But, you know, like President Roosevelt, you know what he did? Yeah, CC camp.
Yeah.
But I think that's the same thing that will do to solve the problem. But the camp, let them go to work. I think that's
It's one of these old heads he was talking about.
They're saying they want to say slavery so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they want to say it and they're embarrassed to say it, but that's that's literally all they can think of.
Yeah, chain gang. They would probably if you said these people bring back the chain gang. Look, these are the two hottest girls we've seen in Philly in all the time we've been doing this show. That's crazy. Shout out to Philly, man. It took us 50 years back in history to find some
I know. That's wild. Damn.
It's great.
Hey, S-Freak, what do you make of that, S-Freak? The fact that we never see any attractive girl in Philly.
I mean, I see a couple every now and again.
Every blue moon.
But you admit that it's rough. You admit that they are rough breed, right?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. But if you go in the yuppie areas, there's some good ones. You know what I mean? But like, they're too stuck up, or I don't know. They're kind of defensive. You know what I mean?
But what is it about Philly? Because here's the thing: they're same women. They're Italian women. They're black women. There's white women. There's Hispanic women. But the ones from Philly with the same DNA as the ones from everywhere else, why do they look so rough? And why do they have like that exterior that just is so hard?
Well, like the way they come across, you mean?
No, the way they look. We're just talking about the way they look.
I don't know. Philly's a tough place. You know what I mean? Like it's just like they just take on that energy. That's the best thing I can come up with.
Okay.
Does it affect a lot of people in the community, do you think?
What are you doing, partner?
Oh, now does it affect that many people in the community?
They can do something. We'll have more plainclothesmen on the street.
He said more plainclothes police officers on the street. Damn. Yeah, if you would ever tell these people there was going to be a fucking movement called defund the police in the future, niggas was going to be saying get rid of the police. This dude probably he wouldn't believe you.
Did the gangs do any way to stop that violence? I mean, how would you?
It isn't the majority. It's only a few. Man, everybody's trying to travel in a bunch. That's what it is. It's a gang.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
It's all communities. I think it's affecting all communities. We don't have no special.
For the young boys or who's in it?
Well, it's mostly young ones, the younger ones, yes. And I think it'll stop it. I believe that it'll stop it.
Is it me or does she have
They
a
don't wanna
giant
die.
scar
That's why they go
splashed
in
across her
gangs.
face?
She sure does.
God damn.
She been through some things.
But they're ready to kill somebody else.
She's a Philly 8.
6:30 on channel.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's some Philly shit
Monday
right there.
probably, but maybe not till Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay.
All right, thanks.
Well, look how clean the streets are compared to Philly nowadays, though, right, Esri?
That's one thing that has changed.
The
Yeah,
streets are a lot cleaner.
definitely. Well, like besides the strike, or 'cause we got the strike going
No,
on.
just the normal Philly street. Normal Philly street.
Yeah, I guess so. You know.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
you supposed to make a pack with it? So,
jeez.
Yo, I really quick, by the way, man, that ending was hilarious. He was talking about
Iconic
cooking
crashed
people.
out last night.
He was only
Yeah.
cooking himself.
I'm telling you, man, that was a good example of sometimes it's best to not say nothing, man.
Digging a deeper hole.
That little kid's what? 50, 55, 56?
Man, if he's lucky, right?
I'm telling you.
Yeah, it is Philly.
They dress better too. You know what I mean? They tuck their shirt into their pants and all that. You know, it's just. Yeah, it looks way different, man. Much better.
And that kind of thing.
Live in Madison Square Garden.
Gotta give them that, they're not
Were
saying.
you in a gang?
Yeah. 20 different carpets.
Is that a big one or is that a small one?
It's a big game.
How many people?
Oh, around about a good 100 or so.
Okay. I'm sorry. Were you in a lot of gang fights and that kind of thing?
I was in a lot of gang fights. Yeah.
Why?
You know,
Go ahead.
like I wasn't, the kind that like get out in the street and throw bottles and stuff and shooting up people. Like it was so like walking down the street bases and like when you see somebody from the corner, you usually get mixed up in a fight. That's kind of fights I've been in a lot. Now I'm usually get in a group and go down. I don't hardly do that. I'll probably get caught in school or something like that and have to fight my way out of school and things. But like I ain't never fight a whole lot. Like get out and shoot now. I didn't like that from the start.
Why did you leave the gang?
Cause I just thought about how many times my life was almost taken away.
How do you mean?
Like I be come home from school, right, and just a lot of boys out there. I almost get moved on a couple of times. I got scraped across my back with a knife or something. And I had run home real quick. Happened a lot of times. Like when people they come around, they be shooting in the cars. That was a long time ago, but they used to come around in cars. And like they be shooting like away from them for a long time. I just must play around with smaller kids, so I won't be into a lot of trouble.
All right, let me ask you once more. Keep rolling. Why you got out? Why did you get out? Was it just to keep alive? Was it did you have too many close calls? What was it? Once more.
I think I had too many close calls. Really, two was I probably around about 2 or 3, but I think that's enough. I think really one is enough. I should have thought about it then, but I didn't. So it was because it was a lot of close calls.
And you want to stay alive?
Right.
Okay.
Notice how he said they were shooting. You know how some always like, man, back in my day we didn't use guns and shit.
Right. It's
That's right.
1973, and he talking about shooting and surviving all these close calls and all this shit.
Hey, what's has Kaya whatever? What's this channel's angle? Do you know?
Where some of the guys
I
come
don't
when
know.
they
I'll show
want
you the
out,
link.
when they want to stay alive. Once more. Well, man, they're all on face and that kind of stuff for you.
Not really. Not really.
Too many lots down there,
Not,
man.
not for down
Too
here.
many fucking lots. Lots. Old houses and shit.
And what happens? One gang quite often takes over a whole rec center, doesn't it? When it gets opened up and it's closed to others, does that happen?
No. It happens occasionally. You know, it happens occasionally. I mean, like the recreation is just for the community. I mean, like if somebody outside, come over and play, it's all right, as long as you maintain it's cool.
What about, I mean, how many guys have died this year because of gang violence?
We don't know. We don't know. 30 something.
Unless you speaking on like down here or something. You mean the whole city? Then down here, go to jail. And yet still, the judge ain't gonna believe nothing you say. So what can we say,
How can you stop it? Is there anything that can be done by either the police, by community people, by yourselves? What could be done about it?
Oh, like you talking about what can be doing about now. Talking about our clubhouse, right? Now they open up the clubhouse, right? Now the parents of the community think that we force their daughters and we beating up their child. But it's nothing like that. Like their daughters come there on their own, you understand, because they go with somebody. And like like people going around getting petitions up against the clubhouse, you understand?
Yeah, but
It's
people
not
are
right.
still dying. How can you stop kids your age from getting killed? I'm not saying whom or which members of which gangs, but how can you stop young kids from getting killed?
There's no answer. There's no answer.
No solutions. There are no solutions.
I was
Salute
thinking
them, man. Jesus, there are
the
no
words right out of their mouth, man.
no solutions, man. This is what it is. Let me see. What is this channel about? It says Hezekiah News.
I mean, the reason I say it, Ike, is because we know that the gun memorial, its purpose is not the purpose that you've shown, right? They're trying to
Right.
highlight gun violence, but what
Mhm.
they've unwittingly shown is the rampant son violence.
Right. It's like body cams. Yeah.
So is
think-
that what he's doing here, or is he
I
trying?
think he just got a lot of old videos. He a historian, like a historian. Like this is like history, man. This is straight up history, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this
Like a
dude
neutral
got
sort of thing, or
I think he more woke. I think he more woke though.
that's what I was
don't
thinking
think
too.
he-
But
yeah,
not
he
doing the best job of proving his point, if that's the case.
Yeah,
He's
but I
doing a
mean,
good job.
Oh no, his work is great.
if you love black people, you probably don't see this as like the way we view it. The things we pick out of what they're saying, they probably wouldn't see none of that.
Yeah, that's
You know what I'm
true.
saying? You know what I mean? They would just think it's ironic that none of the black people are ever scared of any white people or ever talk about anything a white person's ever done to them. They would just probably think it was ironic. You know what I'm saying? Man, back in the day, man. Back in the day.
Back in the day, we had a village.
I'm telling you, man. We was all together, and we was a big loving community. Everybody.
I got a better link to that video. You want me to repost it? Yeah.
What is on that video though? Like, what am I going to be seeing?
It basically breaks down the myth that that segregation was caused by prejudice, but it goes on to explain how it was post-judice, and it was exposure to blacks that caused those prejudicial attitudes towards gliders. From gliders.
Right. Okay. 1966.
Well, these young punks and these young hoods wouldn't be getting away the way they think they can.
All right. Listen of attention. All right. Listen of attention.
I think very often the policeman comes to believe that a war is what he's engaged in, and wars are to win.
This is an attorney. He claims he likes policemen, but not their attitudes.
And that wars are not won by Marquis of Queensberry rules. And that what he's concerned with is the end result.
I guarantee you that guy's a Jew.
The way it's obtained.
That attorney that don't like police.
Yeah. As part of its continuing America's Crisis series on cities, National Educational Television examines crime in the streets. Tonight we look at two aspects of the problem. The rehabilitation of boys who commit more than 50% of all street crime, and the police whose job it is to protect us from them.
This is America 1966, where only the brave walk alone in the parks. And many homes have become garrisons. And where business is booming generally, and especially in fancy alarm devices.
Good morning, madam. May I help you?
Yes, indeed. I need something that would attract a lot of attention. What can you show me?
I think I have the very solution for you. This is one of the best. It's called Invento Alarm. It's one of our best. It's very, very loud. I'm sure you'll find out. It makes a very loud noise. Sounds like a real ferry whistle.
Are these cans replaceable?
Yes, those are replaceable. $2 each.
What is that tie clip with a gun?
That's a real gun. It's all cocked to go off. You know, this also comes with little pellets that you use. It also comes with
Does that shoot?
Yes, it shoots.
Oh my!
It comes with little pellets that you show like.
Is that gonna stop a sun man now?
Oh my!
But crime is increasing and the danger is real. A result of growing population, lack of jobs, and the changes taking place in our cities. Old neighborhoods are changing.
And the changes taking place in our cities. What changes were happening around 1966 in the cities? There were a lot of people coming from a certain area, moving north from a certain area. It's the laws of changes.
For many people, the change is for the worse.
And I've been around Manhattan for many years. I don't think it's safe anymore. It seems to be that all the neighborhoods have been changing. So I'm going to move to Milton.
Jesus Christ. They subtle with it, huh?
Yeah.
They hella subtle with it. Even then, why couldn't they just come out and say it's black people moving into the cities from the South because of desegregation? Why can't they just say that?
I'm curious of that too. That makes me, I don't know.
It's 1966. Why can't they just say it?
For the
why they gotta like be like slick about it and get innuendos and talking code in 1966? If you niggas couldn't look a white man in the eye, or you had to shine his shoes, white man walk in the room while you got to drop to your knees and shine his shoes.
And I've been around Manhattan for many years. I don't think it's safe anymore. It seems to be that all the neighborhoods have been changing. So I'm going to move to Mill Basin now.
Well, the problem I think is really the business is slowing down because all the junkies are coming in. And they come in and they sell all kinds of junk, and the business just drops dead. For example, this business right here lost $1,500. People come in here and they sell them. The people just they come around, sit in the counters. They don't buy anything. The other people see that, they just don't come in. They make a racket out of coming in bathrooms. They sell in there. They have a business, a great business doing that, but they shouldn't do it. And they know they shouldn't do it, but they still do it. And the cops don't say anything.
What do you mean the cops don't say anything?
Well, the cops just not that many cops around here. They just don't come in here and don't check on the business usually like the way they're supposed to come in. Regularly, they don't come in. They just stand on the corner, just watch. They should come in more into the business and find out what's going on.
The police are always the first to be blamed when the crime rate goes up. Though they are attempting to combat the increase in crime, they have not been particularly successful. And in 1964, less arrests were made than in 1963. This decline in police efficiency can be attributed partly to a shortage of men. Most cities are below their quota and are finding recruiting increasingly difficult. It's hard to blame a man for not wanting to be a policeman. We give them very little respect and even less money. The head of New York's 27,000-man Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, Patrolman John Casses.
There's no sense in being a policeman today for the wages that we get today and all the abuse that we have to take when a fellow can go in outside industry and do as well, if not better, without all the brickbats and without all the other ramifications that go with being a policeman. Plus the fact that probably on his other job, he works all day work, whereas as a policeman, he'd have to put in 2/3 of his time at night on a midnight tour and on a 4 to 12 tour.
Another problem is the misuse of the men we do recruit. We train them to catch criminals and then use them to direct traffic as clerks or switchboard operators. All jobs which could be performed equally well by police women or civilians, freeing the men for law enforcement.
May I help you? Yes, ma'am.
And most police departments are still using antiquated equipment.
Yes, ma'am. What's the address? Yes, ma'am. We'll send you an ambulance right away.
The heart of any law enforcement agency is the communication center. Yet in many departments, the time it takes a call to reach them, be written up, relayed to a dispatcher, and broadcast to a car can be costly and even fatal. And we still rely too heavily on the foot patrolman. Chicago's Superintendent of Police, O.W. Wilson.
The most inefficient mode of transportation is walking. And we simply can't afford to have policemen walking. And as we increase their salaries, the need for conserving their time, not wasting it in walking from the location of one police task to that of another, must clearly be avoided.
About face. First rank.
Chicago is the only major city in the United States to show a significant decrease in crime over the past 2 years.
Wow.
This is due mostly to Wilson.
What do you think about that? Jesus Christ. Damn. Look at the black officers. The black officer here, black officer there. Jeez. That's crazy. Hit the like button. Everybody hit the like buttons. Support the channel via PayPal, Cash App, and Super Chat. Hit the like button.
Modernization of the police force, making it more mobile and updating it technologically. Chicago also has a shortage of men, but Wilson counteracted this by taking all his men off the footbeats and placing them in brightly painted cars. They are conspicuous and seem to be everywhere. The cars are linked to a $2 million communication center, the most modern in the world.
1915, 10-4, another.
It handles 5.
Wow. Salute, man. Policing back in the 60s. Yikes. Policing in the 60s. Had to be rough, man. Had to be rough. I had a thing on gangs in New York. Let me see something. Maybe that's on my other channel. I had something on gangs in New York I wanted to show y'all. These blacks, man. Look at these women on welfare. Look at this welfare.
I'm gonna say my American welfare department makes delinquents.
Given in a self-defeating and self-perpetuating way, that the Horn is a leader of the welfare rights movement. Their principle and their overwhelming complaint is that there simply is not enough money to raise a family, and then that it's given in a self-defeating and self-perpetuating way, that it degrades the people who receive it.
I have children. I look in my kids' face and I think, am I going to really prove to them where it starts at? You know, they're always screaming about delinquents. American Welfare Department makes delinquents.
There is an evil system around.
Martin Luther King believes that welfare is part of that system, damaging to black and white alike.
Will not get right until this evil system is removed, because
what do you want?
You hear the Marxism, you hear the Marxism, the evil system.
Yeah, what is it? What is it that you're asking for? These people are on welfare, complaining about welfare. What the fuck?
Telling you, it degrades them. But
want
none of them are giving the checks back. None of them are like, no, you keep the check. This is degrading me. No, they're taking the check. They talk about
and also they pretend like the money came in and the money fucking grew arms and legs and expelled the black man. No, the black man wasn't there in the first place. And then the money came in because you bitched about it. The two are not related or causal to each other.
He was in a gang. The young black dudes was in gangs back in the day.
They were.
They tried to yeah, go ahead.
Look, I remember I saw something that Taz posted. This was a couple years ago, but it was in the 60s, and it was almost, I'm not gonna call it like reparations, but it was like some money that was given to young black youths to kind of like save for college. It was some kind of program set up for them.
You not getting no college fund?
I mean, maybe it was, but what happened was the sons, they started using that money to pay younger sons to do gang activity. So and so they took it. So they ended up taking it away from them. But I'm like, what's it? So they literally got like some kind of like reparations package, and all they did was use it to have little young son teens commit all this crazy crime because they knew that they wouldn't get harsh time.
That's what's gonna happen now if we get reparations.
I have listened.
I know.
And as I've looked and as I've lived in the ghetto, I've seen what this evil system has done to my brothers and my sisters. I've seen how it has left little children with clouds of inferiority formed in their little mental sky. I've seen how this evil system has transformed nice, decent young women into prostitutes. I've seen how this system has transformed nice, decent young men into dope addicts trying to escape the ugliness of their daily life.
They were going to be dope addicts anyway.
Yeah. Blame the white man.
You know, they talk about planning for a future. You have to first have something to plan with. You don't plan a meal, unless you got, something to eat. And you don't plan a future unless you have something to plan with. And this is what, society's going to have to face. They're talking about future America. And, our kids are part of that future society. And, and to deprive them from the time that they're, babies, now they say, work with 16-year-olds. That's crazy. A 16-year-old, it's too late.
Growing up without enough money is hard enough. But there are other cold realities about growing up on ADC. Welfare kids usually live in neighborhoods like Cleveland's Huff. They can see the results of violence, even murder, around their own homes. and they must learn to live with it.
Hate to see these second generations of welfare coming up. And one of the things I think is more crucial to is the youth that's in the ghetto, because most of the youth that's coming up, they're ashamed to tell their buddies, say, well, yeah, we on welfare, we getting ADC or food stamps and things like this here.
Everybody in my whole neighborhood was on relief. We used to run around and kid about it. Because everybody in my neighborhood was on relief, but I was ashamed to go out my neighborhood and tell somebody I was on ADC. Yeah, ashamed of it.
If a child does not have adequate clothing, they don't want to go. If they can't participate and go to the football games and to the movies, they don't want to go to school. So it starts when a child is small. They recognize the fact that they don't have the things that other children have. Children realize when they're different. They know, I don't care how small you are, you know when you're different. And not only that, when you go to the public schools, many times the teachers make you know that you're different.
Oh, geez.
Welfare children don't have, I was not able to buy, white shirts for ties and things. If a mother go out like I do, I buy my child these knit sweaters and bandana sweaters and things like that. And he wear them with his pants. But Friday, he got to wear a shirt and a tie. And I just don't have it. They have sent my child home twice, last year.
Interesting. And these hood rats, even the hood rats sound more educated back in the day. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Man, it feels like Groundhog's Day. It's
I'm
like,
telling
I mean, dang, man, how far back do we have to go? I mean, it's almost it's just amazing to me that.
I'm sorry, TR. Go ahead.
Well, no, I just want to say it's just amazing to me that the gliders have taken a dip in their they're being propagandized, because the Sunman has just always been this way. I mean, and I don't know. The Juice Crew, they've run a number on this witchcraft, this mind control.
I just want to ask you. I just want to tell you that I will keep my word on the $20. So.
Oh man, yeah, that's cool, man. Cool, thank you, man.
If you just
let's see
put
this.
that on. Yeah. After you've done this video, yeah, it's a very eye-opening video. I'm going to show you.
Yeah. Let me. We'll get to it after this.
What can a Tonight on Chronicle.
They don't care about nobody. They don't even care about their own family.
A generation at risk.
And this is the Black family. And we're the ones who have to care most about our own.
A society on the sidelines.
We are in real trouble.
What can a parent do?
She said that as if that was like a problem. We have to care about our own. Well, like, why you Black people complain about some of the weirdest stuff, man. It's literally nauseating.
Their own family.
A generation at risk.
And this is the Black family. And we're the ones who have to care most about our own.
A society on the sidelines.
We are in real trouble.
What can a parent do?
I thought that the discipline I was putting down on him was tough.
What can anyone do?
It's less of a pain than it is painful to see like this kind of stuff go on.
A special chronicle, Homeboys, a generation at risk. Next.
Abortions, illegal forced surgery, can it be smiling? Old folk mixed with coke. I wash my. Word up, word up.
He walked back in the house and sit down and said, "Ma, I just got shot."
They shot her in the middle of the street. They shot my brother first, and they missed him. Then they shot again. I guess they hit my mother.
You can be anywhere and get shot. Stand here and get shot.
I'm Byron Pitts, a News Center 5 reporter on special assignment for Chronicle. Tonight we examine the lives of young black men. Lives lost or swayed in a
that black kid didn't like the way he bumped him. Did you see that shit?
Not at all. Not at all.
The black kid was about to fuck him up.
Yeah. He did not like
reporter
this
on
guy.
special assignment for Chronicle. Tonight we examine the lives of young black men. Lives lost or swayed in a growing wave of violence. Violence that has perpetrators locked in a deadly war and a surrounding community deeply affected. We're talking about children, yet they are undeniably a generation at risk. Boston has seen a horrific increase in the number of violent crimes committed by and against its young black men. Often they're mere kids made powerful by their adult weapons. Kids who shoot or stab other kids, their fathers, mothers, and grandmothers. Kids who see life as so limited and so hopeless that they do not value life at all.
Now they don't care about nobody. They don't even care about their own family.
They go out and they may not come home.
It's that bad now.
Yes, it is.
And that's a hurting feeling for any parent to know that your child is involved with a gang after you read it and hear about it in the papers.
The daily papers are full of murders committed by sons of unsuspecting parents. Within a concentrated section of Area B, 68% of Boston's homicides have occurred. This year, Area B has seen a 200% increase in homicides, the overwhelming number being black and male.
I think that we are in real trouble. I think that our youth are facing annihilation. And I think there's going to have to be something drastic happen.
35 years ago.
Particularly with the onslaught of these drugs, because these drugs are really totally destroying people's minds.
Shout out to Pinky Brown. 35 years ago, they saying the same shit they saying now.
Yeah,
they haven't changed the message.
Wearing the same weave, just the same everything.
Still asking for slavery to come back.
They did talk a bit better though. I can't deny that. I think that's the one thing I can pick out of all of these videos we've seen. The one little morsel of truth is they talked a bit better.
They talked a lot better the further back you go too. Like this is the 90s, this is 1990. Yeah. The dudes in the 70s and the 60s, they spoke like basically like the Queen's English compared to what black people speak now.
Well, in my opinion, the Sons peaked like the more there was supposed this quote unquote like white supremacy and all that shit. That's when Sons were at their best because they had quote unquote the white man's foot up their ass, even though we know that's not really true. So that was the Sons peak when there's like an authoritative society over them. Now it's just they're just reverting back to their normal baseline.
Well, all the constraints because let's be honest though, there was segregation, there were Jim Crow laws. Now the blacks have to follow the law. Could you not go into a white only restaurant or white only thing? Yeah, could you? But did you have to like drop down and shine a white man's shoe if you walk in the room? No.
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah, you couldn't. You weren't allowed in the white man's theater, or you couldn't drink at a white man's water fountain. But you didn't give a fuck because you had your own theater, you had your own shit, you had your own juke joint, your own gambling house, you had all that shit, and it was all janky. Don't get me wrong, but it was their shit, and I can't. I don't want to diagnose why the language deteriorated. I kind of think hip hop had something to do with it, but I can't really prove it yet. So I'm hesitating to diagnose what happened, but it's clear.
emotionally an escape from the pain and suffering of day-to-day life for a lot of youngsters in some of the same ways alcohol did historically. But it also is a commodity of trade. It turns into cash. Cash turns into material gain. It also turns into a manifestation of power.
In the absence of economic development, drugs have become a marketable commodity, guns a tool of the trade, and murder a calculated risk for the players and passers-by. Downtown Boston might as well be the Emerald City to many urban teens. Locked out and left out, some turn to illegal means to get material things.
As a parent, you're on a fixed income, you just got barely enough to pay, you're making enough just to keep above water and keep clothes on their back. But fathers are giving the things that they really want. You can't.
So they go out and take it.
They go out and take it, or either they find an easy way to make a quick buck to go buy it.
Jerry Works is 34 years old, married to his childhood sweetheart. They live in the Orchard Park housing project with their 7 children. The oldest, Jermaine, is struggling to stay straight after 2 brushes with the law.
God. But despite being a tough disciplinarian that you are, your son, your oldest boy, was still involved with the game.
He was still involved, and that's a hurter because I thought that the discipline I was putting down on him was tough. And somewhere or another, either I let up or he just went straight.
What's the main reason you think the young brothers join the gangs? Because they want to take from somebody else? They want to be bad? They want to be respected? What's the main reason you think?
To me, I think it's because of the weapons. They want to have respect and be at the top. That's how it is to me. That's how I felt. When I was in a gang, I wanted to do a lot of stuff. Just start a fight in a minute.
What do you think when you hear in the paper about 16-year-olds been shot, been stabbed?
Like, it's a shame. What's going on?
What did you think before when you were in the gang? And
that's good for them. I would have did the same thing too.
Many of these youth believe that the way for them to be empowered is to be powerful, to have people be afraid of them, and to have some sense of control over their lives and others around them.
I heard Deputy Sylvester said that these kids were better shot, so there'd be hundreds of people dead by now.
That's right. He's correct. It's like the gang that couldn't shoot straight, but one of these days the gang that couldn't shoot straight is going to start learning to shoot straight. And that's why we got to come down in with all barrels, and I'm for it all the way.
Deputy Superintendent Willis Saunders is night commander of Area B. On any given night, he has 600 officers in his control and any number of kids out of control.
The knife on your kid? Yeah, black. Right in the back.
What you got?
Nothing.
Huh? Where's your hands at?
Right here.
Show me your hands. Show me your fingers.
Right here.
Huh? Going home?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, how you doing? How old are you? How old? 12? How come you out this time of night? Huh?
I don't know. Chilling.
Chilling, huh? Go on home there, young fella. Go ahead. See you later.
Yeah, I'm sure he went home.
Man, I'm...
Sir? What did the boy say?
Which one?
The last one.
I asked him what he was doing. He said he was chilling.
He's 12 years old.
Yeah.
What do you think when you see things like that?
I just shake my head. Shake my head because he got a...
So the police captain is black.
12-year-old young fella out this time of night.
1:30 in the morning.
Well, 1:30 in the morning, whatever it is. Like I said again, with a whole group of kids, someone bound to get in trouble somewhere along. He could be the most innocent kid in the world, but somewhere along the line, he may get in trouble.
All right,
It's just a Tuesday.
1:30 in the morning, 12-year-old out chilling. Salute to Kofi 19. Your video was this the myth.
Blacks move in, whites have a instinctive reaction to segregate, somehow restricted covenants, and white-only way could be just that group or whites who actually had to deal with these, at least according to the authors I read, they describe a more liberal spirit toward the Negro, quote unquote, emerging. For example, in 1860, before the Civil War began a year later, there wasn't a single neighborhood in Detroit that was more than 50% black, i.e., there were no majority black neighborhoods. There was no black ghetto. In Chicago, 2/3 of blacks lived in majority white neighborhoods, and the majority black areas were not considered ghettos. But then the Great Migration happened. And this is a period from about 1890 to 1910 where postbellum blacks started a mass movement out of the South into northern cities. And in all of these accounts, like clockwork, they say that the cities began to go back to segregation in various forms. And it wasn't always by law that this happened, as was the case in the South, but sometimes by organization and norm. Restrictive covenants would do the trick, which was just a deal that if you sold your house or rented it, it had to be sold or rented to a white person. If that was struck down by a judge as illegal, another thing that kept white neighborhoods white was just pricing. Just like today, whites with money just bought nicer places, and very few blacks could afford a nice place. And even those blacks who could afford a nice place weren't really that bad to be around anyway, especially since this is before widespread affirmative action. So the rich areas don't really need segregation, which is perhaps why being racist, quote unquote, became more associated with poor whites, as it was the poor whites who actually had to deal with these post-bellum blacks on a regular basis. But if you didn't have money and the court struck down a restrictive covenant, well, then your home and your neighborhood got destroyed by these post-bellum blacks. And I say this now, and it's something considered really mean and racist to say, that you bring blacks into an area and that destroys the area.
Yo, who is this prophet?
Back then, chronicling at the times, they...
Who's what?
Who is this prophet speaking right now? Like everything he's saying is right on the money.
All right, I'll tell you what it is. You want to ask a question? I'll tell you. Alternative hypothesis. So that's what it's called. It's on BitChute. It's called Alt Hype. His real name is Ryan Falk. That's his name. But like all his videos are spot on. This guy's a genius. Just keep.
Let's hear him.
They just said it like this, even the black ones, because back then the norm that you couldn't say what was clearly going on, what clearly happened when blacks moved into an area, the norm that you couldn't say that hadn't been established yet, nor did any of all the narratives we have. For example, all of these guys talk about postbellum blacks being more criminal and prone to vice and indolence, and narratives regarding police bias hadn't developed yet. So they would just say that the blacks were more criminal and this was bad, and this made it difficult for good things to happen, for people to develop careers, and for people, it made it hard for a community to form and any kind of collective economic stability to occur. What's also funny is that they would say that slavery had something to do with the problems of the postbellum black communities as they moved into the North, but they would say that it was the poor work ethic that they developed as slaves. Now, I know, and you could know if you wanted to, that black slaves in the South actually worked fewer hours per year than free white farmers did at the time, and certainly they weren't self-motivated. And I have a series talking about slavery that goes into all sorts of things like this, and it's linked in the description. But what's also interesting is that these guys writing about the past, they don't think as deterministically as sociologists do today. For example, an explanation for why a group behaves a certain way could be just that that group chose to act that way. Why did a person mug this other person? Well, because you chose to be immoral and you chose to do that. Why are so many blacks in these northern cities engaging in vice and indolence? Well, because they are doing that. They made the choice to do that. That's not a way modern sociologists tend to think. They could just look at a group behaving a certain way and say that that group shouldn't be behaving that way, and that the solution is to muster up the will to stop behaving that way. Sociologists today definitely do not think like this. To them, everything is ultimately determined by circumstance, however complicated it may seem. Now, ending that digression, the same thing that happened into cities like Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, and New York also happened on the West Coast a little bit, in San Francisco and Portland, Oregon in World War II, when blacks started moving in to help with the naval buildup. San Francisco went from 5,000 blacks in 1940 to 40,000 blacks in 1950. And over that time, there became more restrictive covenants and white-only stores and restaurants throughout San Francisco. Now, segregation on the West Coast isn't as well known because the Civil Rights Act was passed 15 years later due to the influx of European Jews to the United States after World War II. But it for a brief period, it also happened on West Coast cities as well, illustrating, and that's important because it illustrates that this is a universal phenomenon. This is not something specific to southern cities or the South in general, or to northern cities at a specific place in time, but it also occurred in the West Coast. It also occurred in South Africa. This is a universal phenomenon. When blacks move in, whites have a instinctive reaction to segregate somehow. And today, the way whites segregate is different. It has to do with the buildup of the suburbs and leaving the cities, and the cities become what they become. So why did all of this happen? Why did all of these cities go from being open to blacks before the 1890s to being closed to blacks once the post-bellum freedmen started moving in? Well, there's a true dichotomy of explanation here. One is the obvious explanation that pops out at you, and the other is circles within circles retardation. So we'll skip the shit lib circus explanation here, and we'll just go with what actually happened. The antebellum, right? Remember, the antebellum freedmen were the blacks who found a way to not be slaves, either buying it or doing a favor or whatever it is they had to do to find a way to stop being slaves. And so the difficulty of becoming a freedman before 1865, however difficult that was, I'm not exactly sure how hard that was, but whatever difficulty that was, that served as a filter. And I'm just going to have to be kind of rude about this, but it was obviously the higher quality blacks who managed to achieve freedom before general emancipation. This couldn't not be the case. It wasn't going to be on average worse quality people who managed to earn their freedom before general emancipation. Now, sure, there could be some who just got lucky, but on the whole, the 10% of blacks who got their freedom were going to be smarter, better able to delay gratification, better able to plan ahead than the blacks who didn't manage to get their freedom before 1865. Unfortunately, statistics back then weren't as detailed as they are now.
Wake
and
up.
It would be unlikely that
I'm
the
not
blacks
asleep.
in Detroit or Philadelphia in 1850,
All right.
13 years before Lincoln's General Emancipation Proclamation, would be exactly as wealthy as their fellow whites at the time were. Maybe the antebellum blacks were slightly poorer or slightly wealthier than their white peers in these cities, but the general...
Damn. We're gonna get back to some of that later. I wanna make sure we keep the people attention, man. Salute to everybody out there that's still in the building, man. Jimmy Fields back in the planet. What's happening?
What's happening, man? You look a little sleepy tonight.
No, I'm all right.
We got to stay away from white crime. Stay away from white crime and history, maybe, to keep you from falling asleep.
Yeah, white crime is definitely.
You cannot operate power tools while on white crime. You cannot drive.
I'm telling you, man.
While on white crime.
I'm telling you, man. That shit put me straight. You guys, you whites are terrible. Just like, I don't commit crime that like I don't commit crime that puts us in like look at this. Look here, go boy. Let's see this.
3 people charged for their alleged actions after a deadly crash involving a Memphis firefighter faced a judge today. Firefighter Gary White fell from his motorcycle along Interstate 240 before he was hit by several passing vehicles. And 2 separate drivers are accused of going through the barricaded crash scene. A passenger is also facing charges. WREG's Sharita Patterson has details on today's court proceedings.
So what do we think happened there? Just based on what
3
we know
people
so far,
now linked following.
Fabian Sanchez, 3 Black and Brown coalition, man. They did some egregious shit, probably.
Is there a high speed?
A single night in which there was a single victim. Sierra Pearson, Fabian Sanchez, and Marcia Davis were all arrested following a fatal crash here along I-240 Sunday night. Police say veteran firefighter Gary White, for a reason still unknown, hit the back of a Jeep Grand Cherokee while he was riding his Harley Davidson. Mr. White was thrown from his bike, landing in traffic where he was run over by passing drivers near the Getwell Road exit. Davis is accused of driving while under the influence through the crash scene before driving over Mr. White's lifeless body. Sanchez is accused of also going through the crash scene and refusing a DUI test. There was back and forth regarding if he could hire his own defense. In the end, he told the judge he would retain counsel by July 18th. Then there's Pearson, who's out on bond. After approaching the judge, There were several moments of confusion, including if she was able to afford her own defense attorney.
I'm a dancer. Entertainment.
On the affidavit filled out, it says presently employed. You said no.
I didn't know that I was supposed to put that on.
The 23-year-old is accused of attempting to drive off in the pickup truck Fabian Sanchez allegedly drove into the crash scene. She's also accused of resisting arrest and kicking a trooper. Pearson was assigned a public defender before leaving the courtroom. As for Pearson, she will remain free on bond, but Davis, as well as Sanchez, the judge telling both if they are able to post bond, they must have an interlock device, also known as a car breathalyzer, installed. All three cases have been reset. Reporting for your news leader.
If you got to do all that, why not just keep the person?
My math's off tonight. How many cars were involved in all of this?
I think 2.
So 2 sets of people ran this guy over?
Well, he was already run over by some people. And then when they set up the little thing to like block off, I guess, the crime, the scene, then came these people and ran over him again, ran through the I guess
they look like hardworking immigrants that were probably rushing to get to their next job that normal Americans don't want to do.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Let's see this.
Let's see if they didn't have to
Law
rush to
enforcement
their
was
job,
on high alert.
this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, definitely.
Law enforcement was on high alert going into the holiday weekend, and yet violence still prevailed. Hello again. I'm Greg Lee. Police and fire crews in Oakland spent the weekend responding to hundreds of calls. KTVU's Amber Lee joins us live in Oakland after speaking with a woman whose husband was allegedly killed by a friend during a party. Amber?
Greg, the wife tells me her husband loved getting together with family and friends, and now she's in shock that the suspect is someone they considered to be a brother. This video shows Tim Conover hosting a July 4th barbecue at his North Oakland home just hours before he was shot and killed by a family friend attending the gathering.
Like, it just was like a rapid, like, pop, 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 pop. It's like, that's why fireworks in my head and everything's going off. Like, there's fireworks going on everywhere.
But they were not fireworks. They were gunshots. Zazie Cribbs, the victim's wife, tells me Dwayne Stewart, known as Wesley, fired multiple shots at her husband as people were leaving the gathering. She says Wesley had urinated in their living room and that her husband repeatedly asked Wesley to lie down and go to sleep because he had...
Jesus, so you invite some niggas over to your fucking house, nigga urinates in your living room, and it kills you because he don't like the way you told him that you were upset about it, I guess. That's a nigga thing right there. You gotta be careful how you say it. No matter how wrong they are, they'll get mad at you for how you say.
I thought you meant taking a leak taking a leak in someone's living room. I'm like, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, that's this brother, man, had a function over his house.
By the way, that was a lot of fun last night with Chronic telling you how everybody snitches on
man. Chronic, I don't know what's going on. It's like he kind of told on himself a little bit. It's like basically he's saying that's what I'll do.
You should have been there, folks. That's all we're saying. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I posted it today on the channel.
Things get crazy later on your show, man.
Yeah.
Multiple shots at her husband as people were leaving the gathering. She says Wesley had urinated in their living room and that her husband repeatedly asked Wesley to lie down and go to sleep because he appeared to be under the influence of drugs and alcohol. Her husband died in front of their home.
So I start calling 911, and then I run down to try and stop my friends so they don't drive off because I'm going to need some kind of dope. Like, it's midnight. Like, I don't know what else to do.
Oakland Police Officers Association says 5 other people were victims of shootings in various parts of Oakland during the holiday weekend. A police officer was struck and injured by a suspected drunk driver near Lake Merritt on Saturday while he was arresting someone. The officer was treated and released. Oakland Fire Department says between July 4th and July 6th, it responded to more than 600 calls for service. 115 of them were fire-related. And many were caused by illegal fireworks.
We were heavily taxed and strained throughout the weekend.
Officials say illegal fireworks caused the fire at a duplex in East Oakland on Friday night. 2 dogs and a cat were killed. 1 person suffered smoke inhalation.
Having all our firehouses open, having fully staffed apparatus throughout the city enabled us to prevent significant injuries, to prevent major fires.
It's a family affair.
As for the homicide victim, Tim Conover, the 37-year-old loved barbecuing. His wife never imagined he would be killed by a friend they welcomed into their home. She has a message for the suspect.
Why? We were family. Like, all he wanted was for the best for you.
Conover leaves behind his wife, a 9-year-old daughter, and a 5-year-old son. A relative has started an online fundraiser to help the family. Police have arrested the suspect. Now, the police union says officers also responded to at least 2 huge sideshows over the holiday weekend. Claudine, Greg.
Jeez. Wow, that is fucked up, man. That is so fucked up. Jesus Christ. Got killed by, oh man. Jeez. Holy shit.
Cartier watches, credit card sprees, and a single fingerprint. Prosecutors continue building their case against the man accused of murdering Detroit neurosurgeon Devon Hoover. Well, witnesses say 34-year-old Desmond Burks, who was struggling financially, was suddenly flush with cash and expensive jewelry after the doctor's death.
This week's preliminary hearing will determine if there's enough evidence to send Burks to trial. Local 4's Erica Erickson has been following this case closely all week long, joins us in studio. Erica, what's the latest?
Well, there's pretty wild testimony. The judge declaring one witness hostile today due to her fondness for Burks. But 2 women both saying after the doctor was killed, Burks began dressing nicer and acting differently.
Did he have a consistent source of income?
No, he was a hustler.
More testimony from those who knew 34-year-old Desmond Burks well.
Did you previously indicate that he was broke?
Yes.
Reluctantly taking the stand to determine if he'll head to trial for the murder of well-known Dr. Devon Hoover back in April of 2023.
I didn't want to believe it.
You didn't want to believe it?
No.
Because you loved him?
Yes.
Prosecutors say Burks was seen in Fairlane Mall on video, a witness confirming cash purchases at a jewelry store, and prosecutors say 2 Cartier watches belonging to Hoover.
So he killed and he instantly just goes out. No control, no impulse control, no gratification deferment. Just instantly starts living like a rich man.
And also, they don't understand that like cameras exist and like there's a system to find you and track you. Like no sort of, even if they did have impulse control, like they don't seem to understand that like, hey man, maybe you should not go like in a fucking mall and spend like blood money on jewelry.
It's interesting how with Devon Hoover, just one little letter makes all the difference in the world of who he could have been in life. He could have been Devon. He could have been Devon Hoover. But he's Devon, and it's got a very
Cartier
different
watches
story.
belonging to Hoover, one he purchased 2 days before he was killed, were discovered in homes linked to Burks with serial numbers to match. Burks even seen wearing one of them.
What did he say about that watch?
He said that's big money.
He said that's big money?
Big money watch, yeah.
And was he showing it off?
Yes.
And did he say big money Des?
Yes.
One witness testifying Wednesday, Burks began acting suspiciously after the doctor's murder.
And what was it that you heard him say?
He's looking for a chop shop.
And did you ever hear him speak of a gun?
Yes. He said he needed to get rid of one.
Another woman says Burks admitted to knowing Hoover, called him a homophobic slur, and used his stolen credit card to go on a shopping spree.
And what do you want you to do with it?
Buy myself something nice.
Now, the prosecution wrapped by adding a single print was found inside Dr. Hoover's.
And listen, I would love to know how this Sun Man and this neurosurgeon cross paths. Because
They're probably working on a research project together, right? Doing a little.
I mean,
brain
that's a
stuff.
stretch. I would think that would probably be a stretch, but this he called him a faggot. So could it have been like the guy was like, Because usually when somebody of that status is around somebody of that low of a status, it's like the cop yesterday. It's like the person is, there's something going on.
Well, did they say where he was killed?
In
his apartment.
Oh, in his apartment.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
Apartment.
I'm just saying that as a joke.
I don't think that was an apartment. I think that was a let's see, hold on.
New at
There's
5,
more
a
to the story.
high-profile murder case is moving forward. The man accused of killing a beloved Detroit neurosurgeon will face a judge next week. This is a tragedy we have followed closely from the beginning. In April 2023, Dr. Devon Hoover's body was found inside his home during a welfare check. More than a year later, in August 2024, Desmond Burks was charged with first-degree murder. Then in March of this year, a judge ruling Burks competent to stand trial. That long-awaited preliminary hearing now set for next week. But first, I want to explain what we can expect. It was the April 2023 horrific murder of a high-profile Detroit neurosurgeon that stunned so many. Dr. Devon Hoover allegedly shot and killed by defendant Desmond Burks. Burks will appear for a preliminary exam next week, accused of first-degree murder and other charges. A friend of Dr. Hoover, Alan Konyash, is still heartbroken over the loss and recalls a final photo he took of him.
I just thought, it can't be a bad thing to have a picture of Devon, and it turns out that was one of the last ones that was taken. It's pretty sad. Once I learned of his murder, it was just, I felt like the air getting knocked out of me.
Prosecutors say Burks had an intimate relationship with Dr. Hoover and say phone records played a key role as part of a massive amount of evidence gathered. The investigation spanning 5 states and 3 countries.
To see this case now going to court, what does that mean to his friends, to his family?
Well, speaking for myself, I have to say that I'm just kind of wondering why it took so long. The murderer took his life without seeming regard for all the things that, all the good that he's done on this planet.
Prosecutor Kim Worthy has said the case has more than 100 hours of video interviews, surveillance from 24 locations, over 300 pieces of evidence, more than 134 search warrant requests, a Range Rover, luxury watches, and multiple terabytes of evidence.
Someone took his life, and that family lost a brother, a son.
I asked retired Assistant Chief Steve Dolant about the bloody scene at Hoover's Boston Edison home and how investigators examined reports of him being shot twice in the head.
Not just going out like a bad guy. You're breaking everything down like you see on TV. It's like a puzzle, and you try to put all the pieces together.
Many times a preliminary hearing either can show the strength of the government's case or its weakness. The evidence that they've been gathering over the last year was meant to determine how the murder occurred, why the murder occurred, and the basis for their belief that the defendant is the one who committed the crime.
Former prosecutor and law professor Adam Wright pointing out loved ones will be learning more details, but some info will be held back. The goal, to present enough evidence to go to trial.
He's gone, and there's a huge void left in the world because he's not here. It's not going to bring back my friend, and a great doctor by all accounts. People that could walk again because of an operation he performed, had a way better quality of life because of some neurosurgery that he performed.
Burks is also currently locked up on separate murder charges as well for allegedly punching and kicking a driver in a road rage case there.
Wow.
Something tells me there's still other aspects to this story that are going to be even more interesting than what we've heard so far.
Yeah, I'm not hearing about how many children and his wife was left behind. So, but in any case, like, what does it really matter at the end of the day? Like, when the Sun Man breaks into your home, no matter why he's there to kill you. So that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what we learned in the 1900s, 1904. Yeah, it would kill everybody. Only difference is this guy's not going to get.
That's the test they need to ask people. Would you rather meet a bear in the woods or a Sun Man in your living room? Which one do you pick?
A packed room full of young people, all eager to commit to an anti-violent lifestyle.
Not everything needs to be a fight, so let's treat each other how we want to be treated.
17-year-old Jason Parker has attended multiple DC anti-violence youth summits through the years. He says he's aware and understands the reason behind DC's youth curfew, signed into law by Mayor Bowser on Monday. DC's youth curfew means those 17 years and younger must be inside by 11 p.m. across the city. There are certain zones where an 8 p.m. curfew is now in effect.
I'm never out that late unless I have an event or something, but I feel as though it could help.
The legislation comes after videos like this showing young people shooting off illegal fireworks in Navy Yard on the street during the holiday weekend. According to DC police, 20 juveniles were arrested this weekend, and there were 2 curfew violations. Other videos show large groups of teenagers inside businesses on top of tables and engaging in disruptive behavior in other parts of the city through the last couple of months.
What the fuck? I feel like a few bad apples kind of spoil.
And they're talking to like fucking junior ROTC kids who are not part of the problem.
This kid looks okay.
Why does this kid have to be in? Why does he have to be in at 11 when he's not like he's like a fucking.
Well, we know the answer, but
yeah, this applies to everyone. So if you
white kids.
Yeah, this is everyone's kids, all the white kids, all the Asian kids, even the girls that statistically will do 0 crime, period.
Asian girls.
Yeah. Like your Asian girl, top of the class, has a 4.0, cannot go out because presumably she could hurt someone, right? Because she's a teen too, right?
But this kid looks all right. He should be able to go out. How do we fix this?
I don't know.
For the entire basket.
14-year-old Khalil Rucker says while curfews are good tools, it can prevent young people who aren't disruptive from enjoying their summer.
There's a lot of good kids out there, a lot of kids that they want to go out at night and maybe go for a nightly walk or a
they're
run,
the ones
or
getting
maybe
shot.
They gotta run to the store, but they can't because of their
Look,
age.
they're going for a run. They're going for a run. Khalil. Nobody's stopping these kids from going for a night run.
But they can't because of their age and because of kids who have unfortunately ruined their reputation as young adults.
Now, one of the purposes behind this youth summit is to equip young people with the tools they need, like how to de-escalate a situation. DC's Prevention Center was one of the groups educating young people about violence and drug prevention.
I'm trying to educate the youth on what is going on in the city, the data that's going on, and really just trying to get them the information so that they can make healthy choices.
A necessary event, according to those who showed up today.
Big community events like the summit, this is amazing because I think there's about 50 kids in there, 60 kids in there. That's enough where not all of them live in the same ward. If they can reach out to their friends and their friends reach out to their friends, that's going to at least be a good third of DC, right? And if we can have everybody be on that same page.
In the district, Dominique Moody, News 4.
Yo, I genuinely did not see a single white person. Every single fucking person there was sub-Saharan African.
And DC's 35% white, I think. Or more than that, something like that.
Were you just somewhere, new guy? Where were you?
So then that means that's what, like 35% of kids are on curfew just because they have to be, because the other kids are making it unlivable.
Damn shame. God damn
What else
shame.
It's probably just a few, if you want to be honest.
Justice for Samir. Family members are calling for action and accountability tonight after a 4-year-old boy was shot and killed while playing at a park. A tragic shooting happened on June 27th at Skinner Park. That's where Samir Grubbs, and 18-year-old Davion Shelmanson Bay both died. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. 2 men, Brandon Ware and William Wheeler, have been arrested and face multiple charges, including first-degree murder. Tonight, the community gathered to remember Samir, who was known for his love of Spider-Man.
Victor Williams is joining us live tonight. Victor, Samir and his siblings had been at that park just minutes before that shooting happened.
That's right, and unfortunately, this tragedy just unfolded. But although only 4 years old, this little boy's death is having a major impact on the community.
He was definitely a light that everybody loved.
A neighborhood torn apart, a family grieving, as the community still tries to come to terms with the death of 4-year-old Samir Grubbs. His mother, Jasmine, is taking it day by day.
It's been hard, definitely hard, but it's one of those things that I definitely get on my knees every night and I pray about.
The candlelight vigil taking place in the same exact place where the tragic shooting happened that also took the life of an 18-year-old is more about honoring Samir's memory.
This is kind of rewarding for us to celebrate him today and the rest of the weekend.
Community activist Reverend Rideout was very close to Samir as well, recalling his final time talking to the 4-year-old.
He said to me before we hung up, "I love you, Pastor." And then days later, I had to get this call. So that has torn my heart, it has torn her heart.
And as the city of Detroit struggles with multiple shootings involving teenagers and children,
everybody's numb because enough is enough. Too many babies are being killed. Too many babies are being snipped out for something that they didn't do and had nothing to do with.
Jasmine says she'll still come to the park because it wasn't the location that killed her son, but a senseless act of violence.
Yes, I will come to this park. No, ain't nothing wrong with me. That's just me knowing that my son's spirit is still here.
And we're told that was Samir's second time, only his second time going to the park. And
Jesus Christ. Jeez.
Got to be honest. I think if I was a son man, the last place I would go would be the park. That just seems like statistically, that's not a good place for me to be.
No.
It's not as good as, say, like the barber shop. That seems like a safer place. The park seems like a more risky move.
Man, I don't know. I feel like I've seen enough barbershops get shot up on World Star Hip Hop over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that gets into some per capita stuff that a lot of people don't understand. There's nowhere safe for any of us, not even them.
I'd imagine a lot of fights go down in those barbershops.
Hi,
too.
I'm Jackie Hall.
And I'm BT Bentley. Join Cityline today for the exciting culmination of our special series, Blacks at the Crossroads.
After 3 compelling specials highlighting every aspect of life.
Yo, every generation is a crisis. It's like, yo, we've been at code red crisis level in the black community for like the 200 years.
It's just
Since
over.
the Sahara, man.
It's
Since
over
the
and over.
man.
It's Groundhood Day. Just repeating and repeating. You get up.
Oh my God.
Life, economic development and leadership, the family unit and education. We now bring you part 4, the final decision.
We'll start off by summarizing the past 3 shows, and then we'll have our special panel consisting of previous guests who are experts in their respective areas begin the discussion.
They'll not only answer your questions, but offers practical solutions and a forecast on the future of the Black community. So stay tuned. It's
Blacks, as we get upward mobility, we think that certain problems that we are immune from. But what happens to the total Black race will affect us as individuals. We can move out to Columbia. We could go out to the suburbs in the county, but we still are a part of that problem, and we still have an obligation and a responsibility to help solve the problems that's indigenous to the Black community.
But isn't there something else that's even more generalized?
It's like I get tired of that shit. We got to get to the root cause. What does that mean? That white folks are inherently racist and evil.
I think the root cause is like they basically in their mind the root cause is just the legacy of slavery. Like they didn't get a fair.
That's why it was called Roots.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because genuinely these people don't believe the DNA argument. So they know it's.
Sorry.
They know it's like uncouth, I think, because think of this black man right here, right? He lives in the suburbs. He just admitted as much. So I think in his mind, he's probably thinking it's like kind of uncouth to say, that, white supremacy is the root cause. Because if white supremacy is the root cause, then how did he get to where he is, right? So he's kind of got to like put salad dressing on it and just kind of leave it ill-defined and ambiguous.
The legacy of white supremacy.
Like it's an easy sell, don't you think? Oh,
Yeah.
black people are brought here as slaves. If you just kind of don't
the
think
effect
about
of
it very
roots.
much, it can just kind of seem, oh yeah, that makes sense. People came here under different circumstances, and that's why they're responsible for 60% of the murder.
Yeah, it's the white man fault.
It's the root cause.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched clips from Roots on your channel?
No.
They might be very enlightening and funny.
I've never watched Roots all the way through either. Like I've never seen it. I've seen bits and pieces.
And we still have an obligation and a responsibility to help solve the problems that's indigenous to the black community.
But isn't there something else that's even more generalized than that it affects all of us, no matter what the color, no matter what the class?
Well,
it affects
yes,
the total community and the total nation?
Yes, ultimately it affects all of us living in the community, and it affects the total nation. But I was speaking from a black perspective only.
I think there's a piece of it, though, that affects the black community in particular that we've sort of skirted around throughout the whole series, and then on occasion tapped it directly, which is that the black community in particular has had to deal with the impact both of oppression as well as the impact of integration. And that experience is unique to the black community. No other group in the nation has had to deal with those two issues in particular.
No one else has had to deal with
It
that.
seems to me that cropped up in every one.
Is there anybody else that had to deal with any of what happened during integration? Anybody else kind of dealing with some side effect or aspect of it that was unforeseen?
I could think of one.
Is there anyone? Any person that's 5 times your population that might have suffered from such events?
But those folks are slick talkers, though. I'll give them that.
Well,
they come up, in their suits and ties, and they were, they had like a message that I think was easy to swallow, even though it was complete bullshit.
The investigation to a shooting outside of a popular TGI Fridays. It happened last night in the parking lot of the restaurant on City Avenue in Winfield Heights.
Police say the suspect was kicked out before he opened fire right toward the door of the restaurant.
Jesus Christ. It's like clockwork.
What happened? Tell the son man to leave.
Told him to leave. And
it's almost like it's cause and effect. He was asked to leave, and then suddenly a gun comes out.
Oh, yeah.
These news reporters keep missing that. All right.
Yeah.
My own mama don't tell me to leave.
Jelly. Yikes.
Investigation to a shooting outside of a popular TGI Fridays. It happened last night in the parking lot of the restaurant on City Avenue in Winfield Heights.
Police say the suspect was kicked out before he opened fire right toward the door of the restaurant. Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson is live now outside that restaurant with what we know at this hour. Becca.
Sarah and Brian, we've learned at this point that there were children with the suspect at the time, both in the restaurant and then in the vehicle over in Wissahickon. When that suspect was arrested, police saying that he was kicked out of the restaurant and decided to shoot a gun.
Get it over here at TJ Fridays. I got some shell casings out here on the ground.
A burst of violence in front of a family restaurant. Sources tell Action News it started inside of this TGI Fridays in front of City Line Avenue when staff had to throw out a customer just before midnight Monday. Sources say that man pulled out a gun and fired shots in the parking lot, though the shots did not hit anyone. Nearby, Lower Merion police say officers were conducting a traffic stop and heard the shots. They responded, as did Philadelphia police. There were 2 casings on the ground and crime tape in front of the TGI to-go door. Sources say the suspect took off with kids in the car. The car was found shortly after in the city's Wissahickon section near Ridge Avenue and Osborne Street. Police say the alleged shooter was arrested there. As customers continued to eat at and shop near the TGI Fridays today, some say they weren't surprised to hear of the shooting.
Concern all the time.
But they are worried about all the gun violence in Philadelphia.
It's the sign of the times right now. with everything from bottom.
Yeah, it wasn't going on in the 70s. This wasn't happening in the 70s, 1973.
No, man,
It's
they didn't.
just
They
now.
didn't.
It's just now.
Nah,
Yeah, we had to cross. We had to cross the street when the glider walked.
Nah, sons have always been like just irredeemable pieces of shit. It's always been this way.
Jesus Christ.
Top in our society right now.
It's painful. It's painful to see the heartache and the heartbreak that's happening to the people in our community, in our neighborhoods.
Now, police haven't said at this point the name of this suspect or any potential charges he could be facing. We're also hoping to learn more about the children who were allegedly in that car with him. Live here in Winfield Heights, Becca Hendrickson, Channel 6 Action News. Brian?
Okay, Becca, thank you.
Hey, one thing that I realized is that Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, this guy is right. Those Sun teens have nothing to do. Just like everybody else said since 1904.
Yeah.
They need to be at work camps. They need to work from.
Jerry, out of concerns for her safety, we've decided
They need a chain gang. Bring the fucking chain gang back.
Right.
Jerry, out of concerns for her safety, we've decided not to name her or show her face, but she sent us that video. That video may be hard to watch, but that depicts her standing here, right where I'm standing with her friends moments before being attacked. She says police have not tried to help.
I noticed that my friend was no longer standing next to me.
Minutes after leaving the Mad Moose Tavern, late July 3rd.
We were just having good conversation, and then my friend is laying on the floor, on the cement sidewalk.
A man who the victim claims her group never interacted with throughout the night.
A man who the victim says her group, so it was unprovoked. I'm willing to bet his sons that fucked this guy up. What do you guys think?
Son, man.
Yeah, when they tell these stories, there's
I
always
think
the
if it was a
clues,
white
right?
guy, they would have made. Sorry, man. Okay, that would have been very clear by now. And then a white man. So I'm going. This is another Groundhog Day story, man. It's going to be a son. Go with it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bet on black on this one.
There you go.
Because it's like the woman is obviously like they weren't down there on no bullshit. They were just down there regular party goers and shit. And the attack was completely random and caught them off guard.
Yeah, she didn't say she got attacked by someone in the bar, from the bar that they were previously talking to, right? It's just she got hit by a random ass, apparently colorless man.
I noticed that
name.
my friend was no longer standing next to me.
Minutes after leaving the Mad Moose Tavern, late July 3rd.
We were just having good conversation, and then my friend is laying on the floor, on the cement sidewalk.
A man who the victim claims her group never interacted with throughout the night knocked her friend out. The man appeared to be restrained by another person after he threw the first.
God damn it, fucking son. Knew it. Jesus Christ. And this could have happened in 1904. That's what we're trying to debunk. Tonight's show is basically telling you that this son himself, if you talk to this son, he's an expert on the old days, Man, back in the old days, man, we couldn't even walk down the street without getting chased by a white man, man. The white man. No, son, you would be acting the same way in 1904. Only difference is about an hour later, there will be a mob of white dudes coming to get you and have you swinging from a tree. Depending on how bad you did this white guy. Let's see how bad he did.
First punch.
Then as I was there and taking care of my friend, he came up behind me and kicked me in.
The man then punched her friend in the head a second time.
Jesus Christ. So she was walking with her female friend, and this guy allegedly, according to them, just She turned around, her friend was on the ground. So he just punched the girl for no reason. And then he comes up and
Well,
just
wait.
starts
There's reasons, but this was okay. Keep going.
But the whole girl group.
Right.
He got a shot on all of the girls in the group.
Knocked her friend out. The man appeared to be restrained.
Damn. Maybe he had a bad day at work.
Jesus Christ. I don't know if that's what it was. I don't know if work was in the picture. But yeah, he just socking girls is insane, man.
Yeah, that was like an arm punch. It wasn't even like his shoulder into it. Like that was just a random ass, could have been a slap even, like just a random ass hit and she's down. That's all it takes.
Come on, guys. You've never had a bad day at work and had to put 3 women in their place? I'm sure he's just had a bad day at work. This is the overflow.
So he goes up to these big ass white girls, right? They're big. So he's probably thinking, all right, like I own these women. They like, cause like Sunman and big white women seem to go together, right? And then they're like, nah, we don't want to mess with you. And then he punches them.
Yeah, it could be. Sounds about right.
But it looked
Knocked
like
her friend out. The man appeared to be restrained by another person after he
at
threw
least Bunshika tried to hold him back. Shout out to Bunshika.
Yeah.
First punch.
Then as I was
Bunshika
there
knows
and like
he still
taking care of my
has a shot at least
friend,
one of those girls.
he came up behind me and kicked me in.
The man then punched her friend in the head a second time. The victim tried jumping on the man to get him to stop. That's when the man punched her in the face, later kicking her in the jaw, knocking her out.
Almost a week later, I could still barely walk on my right leg. I have bandages all over. It's not healed.
Her friend left concussed.
Someone told her
victim
she was
called
as good as a
911,
man.
but claims police were not listening that night and never watched their surveillance video that we just showed you.
Very re-traumatizing. Like to have to go through that and then to call for help and to expect that, the people that are supposed to serve you, in this community are.
So the white women called the police and said, hey, these guys kicked their ass under this camera right here. You can watch the video and see who did it. And the police were like,
Yeah, basically.
Hey, where'd this happen at? Where was this at?
Hold on, man. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
You know what? They probably don't want to put that Sun Man in danger. That's why the cops would say, nah. Because they know if they show up, that Sun Man's in danger.
It'd be a slam dunk, too.
Life. Them just reporting to this kind of crime could cost that guy his life. And they got to go, you know what? This will be my 3rd one this week. I got to take a break.
This guy's obviously been to prison before, though. So, like, it would be a slam dunk. They know who he is. It's not like it would be difficult.
Yeah. But it's just like the 3 white women get the shit kicked out of them in broad daylight in the middle of the street, and the police show up, and of course they told them who did it. You know what I mean? And of course they said, who was it? They said, well, it was a black guy with dreadlocks or something like that. And the police was like,
sorry, lady.
You need a ride home? we can give you a ride home.
Yeah. Kind of sounds like 19. That kind of sounds like 1904. Same treatment.
Yeah, where the
same
the
treatment
gliders.
with the cops.
They need the gliders to enact the justice. So that's because remember there weren't no fucking cameras in 1904.
Telling you,
You still haven't heard his side of the story. You know how white women are. They're so disrespectful to African American men.
Unbelievable.
I'd like to hear his side of the story.
Unbelievable.
And that's with Boone Shikwa trying to break it up. Like this fucking Boone Shikwa is gonna tell white people they're just the most awful thing ever, damn well knowing last night she had to stop this ape from murdering 3 white women.
She's just there cock blocking that Sun Man.
No, I guarantee you. She was telling them, come on, man, because if the police come, man, they're going, you're gonna be the victim. She wasn't. She was helping him in a from being victimized, like you said, by the police. She wasn't helping him to stop him from beating the white girl. She was like, they white. You know
Oh
how
yeah, no, she don't give a fuck.
If you hit a white girl, the police gonna kill you on spot. You know, because they still talk like that.
They're gonna hang you like in 1904.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Exactly. Let's see what's going on in Greensboro.
Well, tonight, Greensboro city leaders are speaking out after the 4th of July celebration in downtown ended in gunfire. This happened.
Jesus. Every little town, every little city, every little county. Shout out to Barry B, man. Barry B in the building, man. Make sure you guys support the channel, man. Support the channel. Don't stand on the wall. You're getting great content, man. Support the channel. Hit the like button. Hit the PayPal. Hit the Cash App. Support the channel.
Happened near Center City Park.
Yeah, you may recall from Friday night, 2 teens ended up getting shot. Fox 8 Celeste Smith following up this story for us today. She's live at the park where people are gathering to rally against the violence this evening. So, Celeste, what are city leaders saying about any consequences here?
Right now, no arrests have been made, but the mayor says that behind the scenes, the city's legal team is taking an aggressive stance on this. And as you can see right behind you, the people that are gathering share one common thing in mind, and that's that this behavior is completely unacceptable.
It appears that a number of parents just dropped their young kids off unsupervised. Unfortunately, there was a shooting around 9 o'clock in Center City Park.
4th of July celebrations ended with flashing lights and police tape in downtown Greensboro. Greensboro police say 2 teens were shot just after 9 p.m. near Center City Park, a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old. The 15-year-old remains hospitalized with life-threatening injuries. Greensboro police had about 30 to 40 officers in the downtown area for 4th of July festivities. Despite this, the shootings still happened.
When people are determined to do something wrong, it's become very apparent that police presence don't seem to make a difference.
Mayor Vaughn says he believes the downtown area is safe, but this recent act of violence points to bigger concerns, meaning a new approach is needed.
I know that this is still under investigation. I think parents should be held accountable. The other thing I think that's really important is that our legal department has really taken an aggressive stance.
Letitia McNeil leads Greensboro's Community Safety Department.
That's incredible.
World War Z.
And this is a little old town. This is a little sleepy little country town.
A fucking dot on the map.
Letitia McNeil leads Greensboro's Community Safety Department. She says what happened downtown further highlights why the city launched a 5-year comprehensive community plan.
Zombie virus.
Our city is a safe city. And the fact that, something like this happens and then immediately there's outrage in our community. It shows you that we are a safe city and that we don't expect these things to happen.
It prioritizes prevention, connection, and youth-centered strategies.
Identifying those safe spaces for young people to gather is important. And it's important that we listen to the voices of young people and provide them opportunity to be able to gather safely and do things that they want to do.
The department is currently working to hire a youth engagement director to lead this initiative.
We've been intentional about making sure that we have our youth partners at the table and we have youth voice. So that way we're getting it firsthand from young people, what young people want to do. And then we are trying to create opportunities for those things to happen.
Jesus Christ.
A youth engagement director. And they're going to make how much money, do we think?
Well,
Sounds like
80 to 100.
I'd say 70 beginning at 70, 80, something like that.
She's going to make more now. Now she'll get more donations.
That's a ton of money to do nothing. Other than being black, of course.
Yeah. And
Sounds
if
like
you
a
do
DEI,
something, it ain't going to amount to nothing. It's crazy, man.
Should start a t-shirt collection of all the different ridiculous rip-off front organizations for social justice scams.
Yeah, we'll be reading about her later on when she gets charged for some kind of fraud case, embezzling millions of dollars, buying extravagant handbags and shit.
I'm telling you, man. It is rough out here in the field. The Suns. Man,
Hey,
A carjacking caught on camera.
no, I was about to say something. There was a time where you were asleep, and me and Wicked, we were talking straight through during that time. You ended up waking up, but we were talking about how the Sun Man believes that in order for, things to get righted, things to get fixed, it's going to be the glider that's going to step up and do it. And I was telling Wicked that, and he agreed, but I was like, now, unfortunately, I think the gliders got too much of a problem with their own gliders because it just seems like the liberal that liberal mind virus is taking over most of the young, well, not most of the young, it just seems like they take over, like they have a large presence. So I don't know.
But
New guy.
wait,
What
isn't
you
that a
what you
good
think?
thing for the Suns then? Because then there's
Well,
more
no, no, no.
puffed out
Well, no,
gliders.
it's a bad thing for. Well, I'm talking about a sun man like me, a sun man who knows that in order to keep our freedoms free, that it's going to be the white man who's going to step up and, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay, but
So
you're like one in 100. So what do you matter? The 99 other Suns fucking hate white people and feel very differently.
that's true. That's true.
But do you think they even really think that? I hear them
A
say.
carjacking caught on camera. A Connecticut pastor says he was.
Good.
Like Suns. Well, you guys got to tell me, like, when Suns say, okay, to make things right, gliders got to do shit. What does that mean other than give me
Well,
money?
no, okay, so I'm not talking about I'm not talking about a son. I'm not talking about your liberal son team, your liberal son, or that motherfucking. I'm not talking about the people that we see every day. I'm talking about somebody like myself, somebody like somebody like you're. I'm not even gonna say you're conservative, but somebody, the people that are awake, the people that watch Nation, you know though they are the one, we are the ones saying, well, it's going to be the glider who's going to fix it because you know it's kind of like a glider country, right?
Right. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying now.
But it's like now I believe that the gliders have a setback because they've let the glider race kind of get out of control with this woke mind virus.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
I see
almost
what you're
like
saying.
yeah. So it's like
Yeah. Okay.
it's just
Fine. Theoretically, okay, if we could eliminate all the glider wokesters, then theoretically we would have a better chance, at least compared to now, to making the Sun people act better if the whites, start, being authoritative over them. But even then, what is it like? Because we just saw it in 1904. We just did the whole fucking 9 yards. We know no matter how white people act towards Sun people, what's gonna really change? We can be oppressive. We can be libertarian towards Suns. There's no matter what, we're gonna see this poor little fella right in front of you on the street. No matter what time period, that's what it's gonna be. Here's one thing I would say, actually. If Patels and Umbritos take over the country, then you might see, I would imagine, I'd fucking imagine that coming before you see, gliders de-wokifying and start, putting their foot up Sun's asses. But if there's just a lot of Umbritos that don't want to deal with this shit, I think that would come first. But if I'm being honest, I think the Umbritos would become woke before they would do that. If I'm being honest.
Would become what?
They would become, woke just like the gliders before they would commit to, kind of like a racial style crack down on the Suns. I think the only group of people that if they move to America and they spend a few generations here that would still have, like the will to crack the fucking Suns down, it would be the Arabs, like the Muslim Arabs. They would be the one group who would unapologetically like regulate you guys.
I think Ombritos would though. Ombritos would.
I don't know,
I have
man.
a feeling them burritos would too.
I know the Tigers won't, but I don't know if the Umbritos would. I don't know. I don't see Wiki
Well, what
going out
happens
there.
in prison? Let's look there to see what the real world model is. How
I
do the
know, but
Umbritos
prison's
get along with
different,
the crazy black prisoners? How do they handle their stuff? They get along
but-
great, right? They're like the Black and Brown Coalition has no better example than what goes on in prison, right? They're like brothers.
Well, yeah, well, hold on though. Like, if we're going to use
He's
prison as
being
the example, if we're going to use prison as the example, though, then we could also see, gliders regulating Suns in prison, but they don't in out of prison, so it's just not a good example.
Gliders don't really regulate Suns in prison.
Well, they form up though
They
and
become-
defend themselves.
They do form up. They
Yeah.
do form up,
Yeah.
and they
So-
also kind of
Yeah,
get
they
their
don't-
own
they don't be like
connections.
No, they can't regulate them, of course not, because the numbers are so out of proportion.
already
But like they click
Let's
off
see this
them.
last one, man.
Well, I don't know
Carjacking
which
caught on
Area Next
camera. A Connecticut
YouTubers
pastor
you
says
guys
he was
listen to.
visiting Baltimore when he was carjacked by a teenager at gunpoint in Upper Fells Point last month. Our Tara Lynch spoke with the pastor, who says he is grateful to be alive and is now making it his mission to help young men stay on the right path.
Pastor Kenneth
So
Moles
he
Jr.
gets the shit beat out of him by a young man, and he dedicates his life to save him. Oh, God.
And is now
There's an
making it his
all-American
mission to
smash
help young men stay on the right path.
Pastor Kenneth Moles Jr. says he was in Upper Fells Point to have dinner with friends. That's when he says a teen approached his car and ordered him to get out at gunpoint. And the pastor said he began to fight for his life.
He's placed materialism over my life. Unfortunate to him, he picked the wrong car.
Pastor Kenneth Moles Jr. was visiting Baltimore from Bridgeport, Connecticut, about to have dinner in Upper Fells Point on East Pratt Street at the end of June. That's when this video shows a teen approached his car window.
I knew something wasn't right when I went to grab and move my car. He's pulling up his snow mask over his face, and puts the gun to the window, starts tapping like, "Yo, get out the car now." We began to think, like, what is going on? Like, I'm about to get carjacked.
Moles says the suspect hit him in the head with the pistol. He says he then took matters into his own hands, trying to restrain the gunman. When he learned it was a teen, he explained he's a husband, a father, and a pastor, and wanted to let him go. That's when the teen grabbed his shoe, his gun, and took the car.
I'm more hurt that he didn't have respect for me as a pastor.
Yo, these fucking
on.
black ass pastors, man. Like every once in a while, we just see a video of them getting the shit beaten out of them, dude, or a gun put on them, like just getting fucked up.
And this is a positive story. This guy's alive.
Yeah, it's a
I
better
know.
one.
Good day for the hood.
He almost got the better of
Man.
him. Actually, he was on top of him for a while there.
Yeah.
He felt like he had talked some sense into the poor kid.
Yeah.
Listen,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a father. I'm a pastor. You can't possibly want to
didn't-
shoot me, son. Let's
He
talk.
didn't respect me for being a pastor. I mean, it's probably the silliest shit I've ever heard all day.
After I've given him a chance, we were already fought. I obviously have the advantage over you, and I didn't take that chance while you were down.
Baltimore police say officers found the car just down the street on South Broadway hours later and arrested 3 teens, 15, 16, and 19 years old. Neighbors in Upper Fells call this a quiet neighborhood, surprised something like this could happen this close to home.
I try to look at my car like once a day and like make sure everything's okay with it. But like when I go into town and things
That's
like
how
that,
she'll
like
get
that's
robbed.
something that's like on my mind, and I hate to hear that it's like right there.
Now Pastor Moles said
Going out to check on her car is how she's going to get robbed.
mission.
Got to get our generation of young men back to God, back to hope. We got to save our sons, because as a community, sons go down, that's the whole community.
Reporting in Upper Fells Point, Tara Lynch, WJZ.
He's right about the Suns.
All right, Tara, thank you.
I'm telling you.
This dude getting thrown like 3 fucking feet to the sidewalk, like he's getting thrown around.
The way he fell, I thought he got shot. I thought that was
Yeah,
a
it
bullet
looked
and he
like
just
it.
fell.
It looked like he got shot and just collapsed.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
One more. We'll do one more, and then we get out of here.
I bet now he believes in God.
It ain't no way for me to have no sympathy for that. No way. You don't honor bad behavior, no. What you want, bro? What?
Oh, big
I
mistake.
said, what you want, bro? By the way, you ain't going that way. You ain't going that way, bro. Because you can't pass this. No, sir. No, sir. Right there. You can sit it right there, or you can get off. One or the other, bro.
Uh-oh. It's going to be...
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Telling them little
Oh, I
ladies,
feel
bro.
terrible already.
He's going for his ID.
I don't know.
It's like a game show. When's it all going to go down? When it doesn't take his crumpled old shit? Yep.
That's when it's done. Yeah, that's she right.
DC, they just made the bus free to so that people don't, the bus drivers will be safer. That didn't change anything, but they thought it would make the bus drivers safer to make the train free.
If the numbers prove that, then I guess that's better. I'm sure the buses don't pay for themselves with the fares they carry.
No, they fund. They got a budget. They budgeted like $50 million for like the bus to be free for the year.
All these people have to wait for this plan to stop.
And it's holding everybody up.
He's waiting for some white girl to come up and go, "Here, let me help you." Some college student.
This is what you putting us through, man. Can't pull your pants up, man. Hey, man, look, man, I'm gonna call somebody to help you, bro. No, bro. No, I want you off of here, man.
After you took his money, now this is
inexcusable.
Yeah, you made him pull every fucking cent he had and put in that machine, and now you're
just kick him out.
This guy, he's a son too. He has to know better. This is inexcusable. This is inexcusable.
You should have done this before he put his money in there.
It's his very first day on the job. It's his first day. He's never.
This is a vet.
Damn.
You can tell me.
I know, but I mean that's
he's
the way
turning
he's
Hawk
acting.
Nation against him somehow. He somehow managed to do that.
And then you gonna get up and raise up on him?
No, you can't do that. Not at all.
Talking about on my life. Get off my bus. What are you talking about? Don't worry about it. What the hell you talking about? Don't even worry about it.
Now you trying to kick him off the bus after he paid? So he made all the people on the bus wait while the Sun Man pulled every fucking dime out of every crevice in his body. And then when the Sun Man finally did it, you said, "Nah, I'm gonna call somebody to help you," and you make the people on the bus wait even longer.
Yeah,
this bus driver's an asshole.
Yeah, this is amateur hour. Yeah,
he's an asshole.
Yeah.
They do this every day, though.
Problem, man. You only go a whole block down. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it. Somebody will be here to get you.
It's going to be driverless vehicles in the future.
Don't worry about it, man. Somebody will be here to get you.
Dangerous driverless vehicles.
Stabbed his ass.
Get your ass off before you get beat up for real. I'll beat you up. The man just stabbed.
You gonna go out there for him? Man, this dude.
I don't think he's been stabbed yet.
Wild.
Yeah, he should be fired, man. He's a horrible bus driver.
And he should lose his medical insurance.
But you know what? If this exact same thing happened in 1950, and he went out there and beat the shit out of that guy. You'd be like, yeah, this is what we need. This is what we should have been doing. You know what I mean? It's like you can't win or you can't win.
Until some
Yeah,
Jew
but
school
he
comes
an
out here and
asshole.
talks about
He kind of provoked that guy. That guy, he kind of provoked him, man.
Given the psychological temperament of the Sun Man, it's almost like he inverted who the victim was, given everything we know about how Sun people operate.
I think he should have just used his discretion. I think he would have had better luck of surviving the day if the minute that guy tried to step on the bus, he said, no, get off, and then just drove away. He'd be alive today.
Yeah.
And that's what he should be able to do.
Well, hold on. He is alive, isn't he? Or did he die?
Well, he got stabbed. I don't know. Maybe.
No, I think he's good. I think he's good.
Yeah, he got stabbed.
But like it was one.
Then I take all that back. He only got stabbed. What the hell?
It was like one little jab of that knife, and I didn't really see like blood pouring out of him. So I think he's good.
I thought the stabbing came later. Like he chased him out there.
Oh,
and then
okay.
Then he got stabbed. I don't know though. I was just presuming, just based on the footage, that that's what happened next, because that's the part they don't show.
Yeah, when you have a son like that, you have to do either just never open the doors and drive off. That would be the obvious choice, or let his smelly ass onto the bus and don't say shit and don't ask for money. Like pick one of the two.
Yeah, you can't. Like when the door was closed at the beginning of the video, when the door was closed, you should have kept it closed and drove off.
Yeah.
He opened the door, let the fucking Sun Man on.
Never opened the door.
Think about that. Look at the beginning of the video.
It ain't no way for me to have no sympathy for that.
This guy gets on.
No way.
Oh, see, he's provoking it. This bus driver.
Doors closed. Drive off. If you drive off.
Yeah, 100%.
And then he brought him. He let him on and just play games with him and shit. You got to pay. The dude paid, and then he said, "Nah, man, I'm going to commit you. I'm going to call somebody to come and take you to a facility where you can't have any drugs."
No, that's not how it works with black people. That's not how this works.
That's not how it will work with any junkie.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
With a good lawyer, this guy
no matter what race the junkie was, you take all of his money, because he usually gets on the bus for free. He usually just walks to the back. You take all of his money, the little chump change he probably panhandle for, and then once he gets every cent into the machine, you say, "Nah, man, I'm calling somebody to take you somewhere where you can't have any drugs for like a month or two." Like, what?
That's like telling a Sun Man no, throwing him out of the bar, and he's a junkie. That's like a double combo.
This guy here has a lawsuit. He can totally sue the city for this. He was harassed the second he approached and got on the bus.
What? What you say? I said, "What you want, bro?" Otherwise, you ain't going that way. You ain't going that way, bro. Because you can't pass it. No, sir. Right there. You can sit it right there, or you can get off. One or the other, bro. Because I ain't feeling it.
He could be driving too while this guy's fidgeting with his money and getting other people where they're going.
That's probably what this guy was counting on.
You know what I'm saying? You can drive and get this guy at the same time. He's embarrassing him too. It's a humiliation ritual and shit.
Well, that's what they would say. It's not.
No, it is. No, this is an embarrassing thing.
Yeah, but it's the same standard that you and I have to uphold.
No,
that's exactly the problem.
If you didn't have your money, he would just if you were saying, okay, I was going to pay, or me, he would just drive off, and while you sat there and got your money straight. He's stopping the entire bus for this guy and making everybody wait.
It's just not worth it. It's
I wonder if this guy's ever been on his bus before.
Maybe so. Probably so. I bet he knows him. I bet he knows him.
Yeah, I
But
think
what
he's
I'm
using
saying is,
discretion for the safety of the passengers. He's using his discretion. I'm not going to let this guy on unless he pays, and we're going to wait because I don't want to be driving this guy around. He could say it's for the safety. He's still defendable.
no, but if he
He
doesn't
opened
have
the
his
doors, though.
money, if he doesn't have his money straight by the next stop, you tell him to get off at the next stop.
Nah. He opened the doors. If you let this fucking George Floyd get on, you just have to be like, bro, go on. I'm not gonna charge you any money. Just please sit down. That's if you open the doors, that's how you got to do this.
Definitely.
I don't think this guy would have been a problem if you'd have just let him on for free either.
I agree. Well, he's still a son, man, but that's the best way to do it. Other
Yeah,
than
but
just
like,
simply
what's
not
the
letting him
odds of
on.
this guy? Like,
I wasn't arguing that it was the best way to do it. It's how defensible is what he's done. You know, he can lose his job, he can be sued, or he could defend himself by saying, well, it was for the safety that I waited. He's followed protocol. He's not in trouble yet, I don't think. The bus driver. I don't think he's lost his job yet.
You mean like just in terms of just like the job description protocol? Okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, he there's no reason. This is the real world, though, right? This
nothing
is not
goes by protocol.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This guy in the Nike jacket actually has a legitimate suit, and he could also be suing the bus driver as well. And the bus driver is totally in his right to be protected from that up to a certain point. And I don't know whether it's when he steps off the bus or when he steps out of his chair, whatever. There is going to be a demarcation where he's lost his case, you know. But right now, he's doing what he should be doing. Get the fuck out of here. In whatever way he can, he's getting this scumbag off the bus.
That's when it's done. Yeah, let's see, right? Today the 1st, and it's the 25th year of 2020, 25.
Yesterday my niece's birthday today, and my other niece's birthday. I need a job.
This nigga needs a job too.
Does he make it to the full fare?
Man, come on, bro. Yeah. You don't understand why somebody don't really even want to deal with you, man. This is what you putting us through, man. Can't pull your pants up, man. Hey, man, look, man, I'm gonna call somebody to help you, bro. Hey. No, bro. No, I want you off of here, man. Man, you done pulled your dick out in front of my face. Talking about on my life. Get off my bus. What are you talking about? Don't worry about it. What the hell you talking about? Don't even worry about it.
Was that from a previous bus experience that he's talking about? Or is he talking metaphorically? That he pulled his dick
Maybe
out?
he's talking about now while he's reaching in his pocket. The guy's pants are pretty low.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's meaning it metaphorically, like you're just.
I think he's meaning it
slapping me in the
literally
face
right
here.
now.
Don't worry about it, man. Somebody be here to get you. Hey, yo, get your ass off before you get beat up for real. I'll beat you up.
Now, see, if he was actually stabbed there, the news would have stopped it, and I don't think he's been stabbed yet.
This isn't a news story. This is just the camera. This is
there's the raw footage. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It also says appear. It doesn't say stab. It says appear to stab. So I don't really know what happened.
The guy said he stabbed me on the walkie-talkie.
Oh, okay. Well, he clearly is not. He's clearly okay because he's running
it probably
after
was
him.
a flesh wound. It probably wasn't like a, But yeah, everybody, man. Salute to everybody. Any final thoughts, man?
Well, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, salute to the nation.
All right.
Salute to you.
Get in the comment section, man. Everybody, man. Support the channel. Hit the like button on the way out. Peace. out of here.
All right, Ak.